Hey, everyone. That was not nice. That was not nice. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the show, the wrestling show. We're keeping it real, goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Wrestle Talk, live here on YouTube. I'm your host, Omar Qureshi, joined by wrestling connoisseur right off of his trip to Nolens. Trevor, the barman Souton. Say hi to the people. Trev, how was your trip?
It was fun. It's funny, like I was saying earlier, there are a lot of wrestling fans that had very big opinions about my t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. I bet they did. Anyway, Trevor, so, I know you were down in New Orleans. We'll get to what we're talking. Actually, hold on. Let me introduce what we're talking about today. So we're going to be talking about AEW Double or Nothing. It's our live preview show for Double or Nothing, which airs this Sunday night on pay-per-view. We're going to be covering all of the matches for the pay-per-view. Also, be sure to stick around for that later on in the show. We're also going to be talking about some news out of WWE, a lot of releases, not just talent, but also a lot of people within the company are now gone. We are going to be talking about AEW's new TV deal, Dark Side of the Ring, news from Japan, and much, much more because, God, this was an interesting week in wrestling. Before we get to any of that, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel for daily videos, not just wrestling, but sports as well. But before we get into any of that, we had a birthday this weekend. Mr. Trevor Souton turned 47. Trevor, happy birthday.
That's why you got that earlier. It was a preemptive strike.
No, but I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody here when I wish you a very happy and healthy birthday. We know you were down in New Orleans, or as they say in down south, Nolens. I know you were down there for your birthday. And I saw on Facebook you had some pretty interesting photos. So actually, let's take a look at some exclusive photos from Trevor's trip down in New Orleans. Trevor, I know you were down there. You were down there wrestling some gators. Look at you right there. Wrestling some gators, playing with the gators down there in Nolens.
How did you get into my photo?
And then, I don't know. Oh, whoa, look at this. Well, you found, apparently WWE was having a tryout down south in Nolens. I don't know how you did it. And look, oh my God, Trevor. Look at this, Trevor.
I got ripped and got fat at the same time. It must have been a very interesting weekend.
Fluctuating, man. Look at this. Oh, how are you in two places at once, Trevor? This is interesting. And hey, you know what the best part about New Orleans is, Trevor? The food. The food is the best part of New Orleans, and you enjoyed it to the max.
This is a true picture. This is exactly what happened. Especially my first day.
Oh, big facts. Anyway, okay, that was fun, Trevor. Though, awesome. In all seriousness, happy birthday. As Damian Sandow would say, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You know who did not
started off with some sad news.
Very sad news. You know who did not have a happy birthday weekend, or your birthday weekend? You know who was not happy this weekend? Adnan Virk. It was revealed on Tuesday in a statement from WWE that former ESPN and MLB Network announcer Adnan Virk had mutually parted ways with WWE after only 43 days on commentary. In a short statement on WWE's website, a very short statement I might add, they said, WWE and Adnan Virk have mutually agreed to part ways. We thank Adnan for his work. That's literally all they said. Virk confirmed the news on his own Twitter by saying, thanks to WWE for a wonderful opportunity. The weekly travel, along with my other jobs, was a grind for myself and my family. I'm grateful to everyone, especially Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, for being such fantastic teammates. We all know what happened with Adnan Virk. You know, he started the night after WrestleMania replacing Tom Phillips. WWE thought, mixing up the announce teams would be a good play. They thought it was going to be good for them. Bringing Adnan might bring a more legitimate voice into the arena. However, it didn't work out that way. Adnan Virk was criticized by fans and critics alike for being monotone, for not bringing the enthusiasm that you would want, and, sometimes not being familiar with the product. And again, this is no shake on Adnan. Adnan Virk is a very good announcer for sports. He does a great job at MLB Network. He did a great job on SportsCenter. It just didn't work out in wrestling. So, Trevor, what do you think about this move, and who do you think might end up replacing him?
So I mean, sadly, I'm like we've talked about this before. Sadly, I'm not really shocked. I don't feel like he really knew the product. One, I don't feel like he was really enthused about it. Like, I mean, you saw him try, but it wasn't something that was like, "Hey, I'm announcing here, and I'm really excited about being here." It was never that. So I mean, it is sad to see him go after 42 days. I mean, he really had to be bad for them to fire him after 42 days. Michael Cole's been on for years, and he's still not gone. Um, so you're kind of like wondering what exactly what was it was his like attitude, you know, was it just his morale, what was it exactly? And now I'm wondering if they're gonna take my boy from NXT and bring him over, not Wade Barrett, even though Wade Barrett would be interesting, but the other guy, bring him over to WWE.
Yeah, I believe you're talking about Vic Joseph. He was actually
Yes.
Vic Joseph was actually the Raw announcer, I believe, 2 years ago or
Yeah,
something along
well,
the lines when they had
yeah.
Dio Madden and Corey Graves. That was an interesting team. But
It was
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people were like, "Why did they move on from Tom Phillips in the first place?" Because like, if we're looking back at what was the problem on Raw for a long time, it wasn't Tom Phillips. You know, I
No.
think adding Adnan Virk created another problem for WWE, especially for WWE Raw. It created another problem for them on a show that already had a host of problems. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. And it's going to be interesting to see who is going to replace him, because, like I said, the top two candidates are going to be Tom Phillips and Vic Joseph. Possibly, you might want to make a call to Mauro Ranallo. I doubt he's going to be
I don't
interested in
think he
going
will be
back to
interested. No.
WWE, but I mean, again, if you want the best person for the job, if you want to make Raw watchable, hey man, Mauro is the guy who can put anything over. He could put water over in the ring,
Really good.
and yeah, so that's gonna be an interesting thing to keep track of. Anything else on Adnan Virk, Trevor?
Uh, Safe travels, my friend. Hope to see you in Major League Baseball again.
Yeah, you will. You will. Probably. Anyway,
Mm.
and I hope to see anyone who's watching right now liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And speaking of releases, let's talk about WWE and the month of May. This month might be known as Black May because of what has happened in just a matter of months. We've seen one host of releases earlier in the month. That was the one with Samoa Joe, the Iconics, and Kalisto and everybody else. And we saw this past week another host of releases. This week, WWE announced a second round of budget cuts made by the company. Among the talent released were Kavita Devi, Vanessa Bourne, Skylar Story, Ezra Judge, controversial referee Drake Wuertz, Jake Clemens, and Alexander Wolf, which was a surprise to a lot of people, although he had not been doing anything. The reason these two stars were
Was
given...
Jessamine Dukes on there too? I saw her on there earlier.
Yes, Jessamine Dukes as well. The reason that these people were given for their budget for their releases was budget cuts, although in some of these cases you could see outside factors probably influencing the decision a little bit. But that being said, what do we think of some of the names that were released, Trevor, and where could you see them ending up? And what do you just make of all of this happening again, like just 3 weeks after we had one round of budget cuts?
I like how they preface it by budget cuts. Just be honest. You don't use them. You don't use them, so you don't need them. When's the last time we seen Jessamine Dukes on TV? Like, and honestly, she's not a bad talent. I actually like her switch over from UFC to WWE. It's not bad at all. But like, she can do better elsewhere on the indie circuit, like ROH, independent, Impact Wrestling. Hell, like we need more women in AEW. Like, come on over. Like, I mean, it's just getting kind of scary, I guess, to say, because it's one of those things you don't know who's going to get released, and you don't know what bullshit reason they're going to give for releasing them. Now, there are two definite names on there that I think should have been released, and we're going to get into that later. But a lot of that talent released is a shame. It's a shame. I mean, but it's good for people like Impact Wrestling who desperately need talent. So, and ROH as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think that, you know, the whole budget cuts thing, it's kind of overplayed at this point. I think it would be fine if WWE just said we parted ways. Like that's the excuse they probably give to the talent because,
Right.
you know, but I feel like just be honest about it. You don't have anything for Alexander Wolf. You haven't for a few years now. You don't have anything for. How do they not have anything for Jessamine Dukes? How do you not have anything for Duke or for Ezra Judge? Like
Exactly.
these two people like could have been cornerstone of your company type thing. I like, you know, I'm sad to see, you know, Jessamine Duke go away because now we're never like had no chance of getting the four horsewomen of UFC versus the four horsewomen of WWE thing type happening in the ring. That's not going to happen now, you know, even if Ronda Rousey does ever decide to come back. And you know, with Ezra Judge, that's one I don't understand either because unless he, you know, wanted to leave wrestling, unless he wanted to, you know, go explore other options, I don't see him learning at NXT or him, you know, having more matches as a bad thing. He's got the look, he's got the intensity, he's getting better in the ring from what I've heard and what I've seen. That's one I don't understand either. So I mean, again, you know, they can say budget cuts all they want. They also, so everyone knows, they also cut a lot of people from their digital department today, and like, so this is not just affecting some talent. This is also affecting, you know, people who work in companies, and a lot of those people, you know, some of them aren't, you know, like making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and a lot of those people are, you know, salaried employees, possibly making as low as like 40, 50, 60,000 dollars a year, and you know, we don't know a lot of situations there, so we wish all of them especially the best. But again, man, the most profitable year in this company's history, and they're making all these budget cuts. It's not a good look, man. What does this do for WWE's reputation, you think? Like why do you think they might be doing this? Is it just to, like, you know, make those numbers work out, to give themselves bonuses, to make more of a profit, or what is it?
I mean, like you said, that this is the most profitable year for this company. And so budget cuts don't really make any sense. But this might be a smart move in a way too, because this is talent that they don't use. I mean, it's detrimental because it's talent that they should use, but they don't use them. So maybe it is helpful for not just them, but also the talent that they let go, to give them opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, because honestly, I believe at some point AEW is either going to have to come up with another title or let talent go, because AEW has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Or give them a deal where they can go to other promotions here and there too. So
yeah, I mean, AEW, I think, is already beginning to introduce their, or they've unofficially announced, like, the rumor will is Merlin, but it's going to be announced pretty soon that they're going to have a trios title. So a 6-man tag team title.
That makes sense.
Kind of thing, whenever Rampage comes in, which I think would be a good way to launch Rampage, you know, and have that kind of be the show for that. But regardless, you know what I think this comes down to? All of these releases that we've seen, all of these budget cuts, all of this stuff, I think it's in preparation for WWE going back on the road. Because one thing we know, WWE started making a lot more money and a lot more profits when they stopped doing house shows. And you know why that is, Trevor? It's because WWE have not recently, since 2018, 2019, like past few years, have not been doing a good job of selling tickets at house shows. They've not been doing a good job of drawing houses. And sometimes the numbers actually hurt them if they run all these house shows. So that's one thing we know. I think that you're going to see an initial boost in the amount of tickets sold for this initial run, because people want to get out of the house. They want to go to wrestling events. But one thing to keep in mind is, you know, the cost of running these house shows. It's not just, you know, oh, you have to. the talent has to get there. It's not just, you have to set up the ring. You have to move all of the equipment. You have to move all of the production stuff. If you want to get stuff on film, like they sometimes have cameras up. So there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of extra expenses that go into it. And I think you could just be seeing them trying to make those numbers work out moving forward. And that's why you've seen these releases. That's why you've seen people like Samoa Joe, people like the Iconics go away because, one, they don't know how to use them. Two, we have a lot of stuff coming up. They have a lot of stuff coming up that they have to put money down for. And in order to make the numbers work out, you just have to let some people go. And especially if they're not doing anything, why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame because they're great talents, but it also makes sense.
Yeah. Leon Thomas in the chat just said, Vince doesn't see anything in the talent. Or Vince doesn't see talent. Either way, you're right, Leon. 100% right. Although, Vince... Okay, I do think Vince does get a little bit of a bad rap, right? Because... It's very easy to say he's out of touch, which he is. It's very easy to say, he doesn't get what the crowd wants, which is true for the most part. But to say Vince McMahon, is this idiot who doesn't understand TV, who doesn't understand wrestling at all, I don't think it's that he doesn't understand it. I think Vince understands what is popular in wrestling. I just think Vince McMahon does not think what he does is just wrestling. Vince McMahon, I think, comes up from perspective this is a TV show, a variety show, my variety show, my version of SNL, SNL with body slams or whatever, right? And that's what he sees it as. Therefore, wrestling is just one part of it. And will he do some sort of wrestling carny type stuff? Of course, it's in his blood. But at the same time, he is trying to entertain himself. And Vince is the type of guy, he thinks what he thinks is funny, what he thinks is entertaining is going to be entertaining for everyone else. And look, you can't say that, he doesn't adjust. Sometimes it's a lot later than we would like with Roman Reigns. It took him 5 years to adjust to what we wanted from Roman Reigns. But, that's how it is. And he also has some magical stuff. WWE, the rise of Bianca Belair, amazing. It was amazingly built. This storyline with Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns, amazingly built. The storyline aspects, the character aspects, it was all put together fantastically. So, again,
he does do some good stuff, like you said.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, I just want to say I've been critical. I know I've been very critical, and I'll be critical, forever. But it's not just that, Vince is completely out of touch, doesn't understand anything, and he's dumb. That's the part, and I'm not saying that Leon is saying that, right? I'm not saying you're saying that, but there's a lot of people who do say that, and it's a blanket statement. And I think we need to kind of, get rid of that blanket statement type stuff. Overwhelmingly, what Vince does, I think, is unentertaining and bad for his own product. But that's a different story. Absolutely. Yeah, but that doesn't make him, completely dumb.
No, he's not. Like you say, he's not completely dumb. Sometimes I think Vince does what he wants to do because, like you said, he finds it funny, other people don't. And I think it's one of those things where it's like if I find it funny and two other people find it funny, that means millions of people will find it funny or find it entertaining. So you know what? I'm gonna do that. It is not. It is, and sometimes it's malicious. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just. He doesn't care, and he's Vince McMahon. He can do what he wants. But it's just one of those things. Look at the Attitude Era. He hit a home run with that. He did. He definitely hit a home run with that. And he has hit a home run with Bianca Belair. He's hit a home run with Drew McIntyre. After years, but he's hit a home run with Drew McIntyre. Yeah. But it's just one of those things. He's not terrible, but he's not great. And you can see that with Raw. And even though Raw might be more writers than anything else, though.
But SmackDown, objectively, is probably the best show in wrestling. A lot of people will argue. So, again, it's give and take. I think, again, I do think it's stubbornness. Is his biggest downfall.
And that Leon Thomas in the chat, I actually might know him, so I'm not sure.
Masalam. But hey, man, to quote Vince McMahon, you don't like what you like. You like what I tell you to like, which is exactly the way I run this show. You can ask Trevor. That's 100% true.
Yeah. I do what he tells me to.
Yes. Well, you know who is dumb, Trevor? Vince might not be dumb, but you know who is dumb? This guy, Drake Wuertz. Among the releases last week was WWE official, WWE referee, Drake Wuertz, who is a very controversial figure in the wrestling business right now. He's a very interesting story. He was a former indie deathmatch wrestler. He got injured along the way, fell into some bad habits. He got sober, landed as a ref in WWE. Everyone thought he put his life around. He turned his life around. He was doing great. And then in the past year or so, a lot of problems have arisen with Drake Wuertz. And it's a long list, so bear with me. He skipped NXT shows to go to local school board meetings advocating against masks in school for kids. Several times he made talent of color uncomfortable or unsafe around him, and by what he said and the way he said it, and sometimes people felt unsafe because they felt he was a threat to them. Critical of wrestlers getting vaccinated, even for the flu shot. This is not just the vaccine that's going around, the COVID vaccine. This is the flu shot. There were incidents where Wuertz and Ezra Judge, actually, who was also released in this round of releases, had to be separated after a physical altercation. And Ezra Judge, as many of you may know, is an African American. He's a person of color. There was nuclear heat on him for refusing to wear a mask backstage during the worst of the pandemic. And this is right before one of the big breakouts in the Performance Center. Last year, Wuertz apparently walked out of NXT In Your House, the pay-per-view event, after becoming irate at the company meeting led by Triple H, where Triple H addressed Black Lives Matter and inclusion. And big part of that things coming out of this meeting was Wuertz was said to be very upset when, quote, tolerance of all religions was mentioned. He became visibly angry, gathered his belongings, and stormed out of the event. So Trevor, this is not the type of guy you probably want to go get drinks with. This is probably not the type of guy anyone wants to, hang out with, it seems. And he caused a lot of problems backstage. What do you make of this? Not just the release, but some of the behavior here, and what this probably was like for talent backstage.
Like, I wonder. It's one of those things when you hear something like this, you wonder why he was around for so long, because this couldn't have been something new. This couldn't have been just something that he just did like on the whim. It had to be telltale signs of this from the get-go. Like I just don't get it. Like, you have your beliefs, okay, I get that, but why take it out on everyone else? Okay, you don't like them, fine. You don't like. You obviously have issue with African Americans. Okay, cool, whatever. But that doesn't mean you have to visibly do it, especially at your place of work. You're not that big, dude. You're just a cog. Get the fuck out. It is easy. You know what I mean? Like, and it had to be incredibly uncomfortable for the talent, And I'm amazed that if he was after African American males, I wonder if did he like say anything negative to females too? Because this kind of guy sounds like he's more than just racist. Like, he might be misogynist too, Yeah,
I mean, he's the type of the whole women belong in the kitchen type deal, probably.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seems like to me.
I can't confirm that. We can't confirm that, obviously.
Yeah, no. This is just speculation, guys.
That's speculation. But however, but everything we said before is 100% confirmed by multiple sources. So that being said, I do think, like you said, all of this stuff is terrible. Like, you can have your political beliefs, right? Like, and a lot of this stuff, I think goes beyond politics, but we're not going to get into the nitty gritty of that. But You can have your beliefs. You can have your political beliefs. But once you go against company policy, once you go and make your fellow employees, your fellow workers upset, once you go out of your way to make them feel unsafe, that's a problem. And at the end of the day, it's not up to them to fix themselves and agree with you. It's up to you to be tolerant. And
Exactly.
the big thing that I took away from this, man, was he walked out when Triple H was having this meeting. And fair enough, Black Lives Matter. All right, there's a weird stigma about it. Whatever. He walked out when Triple H mentioned tolerance of all religions. That is a basic tenet for anyone who believes in the Constitution. And apparently,
Right.
people like him allegedly believe in the Constitution, even though they go out of their way to try to destroy it. But tolerance of all religions is like a basic thing. You have to be tolerant. And he got visibly angry, visibly upset, and he walked out of there. And you know what that shows? He doesn't want to be tolerant. He does not want to change. And when you have somebody who's making talent uncomfortable, when you have somebody who's walking out of meetings that Triple H is leading, by the way, this is a company meeting that the COO or whatever his real title is, I think he might be like live events or something. Either way, a chief executive of the company is leading, and a respected member of the locker room, the head of NXT, is leading, and you walk out, you storm out like a child. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised it wasn't over right then and there.
It should have been gone.
He doesn't wear a mask at all backstage, and then there's multiple. Like, we're wondering why NXT had multiple COVID not violations but outbreaks, like huge outbreaks that almost led to them not being able to tape shows. This probably plays into it, this type of mentality. And, this isn't just a thing, he's also not the only one who's done stuff like this. Like, one name who actually is very close to Triple H, which I think might be a reason why Drake Wuertz wasn't fired after that meeting, after he stormed out of that meeting, Road Dogg. Dogg, he shares a lot of Drake Wuertz's beliefs, it seems. He shared a lot of Drake Wuertz's very controversial views on Facebook. There's proof of that. You guys can go look it up. And, I think at the end of the day, it was one of those things where I think enough talent were just over it that they might have had a mutiny on their hands. Especially like he's supposed to be an official who's in the ring taking care of people. He's supposed to be in there if people get injured. And he's showing a sense that he doesn't tolerate people for their beliefs. He doesn't tolerate people for who they are. That's a problem. And sometimes people can overcome these prejudices they have, right? So like there are times people can. This is someone who didn't even want to attempt to. So good riddance. Drake Wuertz should have nothing to do with the wrestling business. He's apparently making calls around to the indies, and nobody wants to hire him, and probably for a good reason. I wouldn't.
I wouldn't touch him with 10-foot pole.
Don't touch him. Don't touch him. Like I said, it's one thing. It's one thing to have your political beliefs. It's a completely other thing to go out of your way to harass talent, to harass your fellow coworkers.
Well, my thing, like I said before, like what makes you think you're a referee? What makes you think you're that important that they won't get your ass up out of there? You know what I mean? Like, you are not important enough to keep. You're harassing talent. You're making people feel uncomfortable. You walk out on your boss's, spiel while he's meeting. Like, dude, get the fuck. Like, he should have kicked rocks a long time ago.
Yeah. Good riddance, Drake Wuertz. The wrestling business is better without you. And that's no cap. You can take that to the bank. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from this asshole to another potential asshole.
I was going to say to another potential asshole.
Although allegedly. I got it. You get the reference. Okay, good.
I do.
Okay, good. All right, let's move on and talk about the Velveteen Dream, who was also released. He was another person on this big list of releases. As first reported by PW Insider, WWE released Velveteen Dream from his contract on Thursday. According to Fightful Select, Dream hadn't been at several NXT TV tapings in recent weeks. The former NXT North American champion has been attending open ring sessions at the NXT Performance Center, but Dream, whose real name is Patrick Clark, has not wrestled, to make note, he's not wrestled since December of last year, and that was a match against Adam Cole. He started his career with WWE as a contestant on Tough Enough. You might remember him as Patrick Clark. He was eliminated very early. He came off as very arrogant and very young. and he has been sparingly used since the April 2020 allegations against him surfaced, where he allegedly was sending illicit pictures to underage boys and girls. WWE later commented, claiming an investigation had been taking place, and they didn't find anything. That is a quote from the company. But alas, Velveteen Dream, not used for a long time for these outside reasons, has now been released. He has since, and this is worth to note, he has since come out and vehemently denied these allegations in a very long statement. It's way too long for me to read out here, but know that he's denied the allegations against him, and he did feel like they were a stigma and kind of led to his release. But Trevor, Velveteen Dream, gone from WWE. What do you think led up ultimately to his release, and what do you just make of this news?
So we touched on him not long ago because, like I said, I think I remember saying he's from DC. Great talent. From what I know, he's kind of a shithead in the locker room.
Who isn't?
True, true. But kind of a shithead in the locker room. But from what I know about Dream, he actually reached out and tried to help a couple guys. I think one of them was the person that reported his allegations, I think. But I don't know, man. It just seems odd. If you go with his persona's kind of like this androgynous guy who could be into men or women, But at the end of the day, that's a persona. That's not necessarily him. So, like, from what I gather, like, he doesn't seem like that type of guy. And if he did it, he deserves it. But I feel like I hate allegations like this because you never know if they're true or not. I feel it, and honestly, in most cases, it ruins people's careers for no reason at all.
Yeah, and I don't think his gimmick honestly necessarily has anything to do with these allegations. I think that's just that is what it is. But one thing I do think that he mentioned in his statement against these allegations, this is like the first time he's really spoken out vehemently against.
I've read that earlier.
One of the things that he said was that he believes that these were, photoshopped or fake Instagram messages or something along those lines. And, again, it's worth to note WWE did their investigation. As of right now, no charges have been filed against him. That could change. That couldn't. Who knows? But, there are some things to note that these things might be, these alleged allegations might be untrue. And again, though, I do think at the end of the day, it was the stigma of the allegations, whether or not they were true. They could very well be true. They very well could be not. We don't know. The stigma of these allegations, I think it's very clear to say they led to his release, because once it's there, it's very hard to get rid of.
Yeah. I mean, it had nothing to do with his work ethic, from what I know. It had nothing to do with his performance in the ring. All I know is he got released because of this. Like I said, I read the report earlier in his statement, and like you said, he did say that it could be photoshopped, and I believe a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, when it comes to someone famous like this, and it comes out later in their career and not earlier. Like, I feel like it is one of those situations where it's either Photoshop or false, So yeah. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the situation. Again, we can't speak on these specific allegations, but what we can say is that in the ring, Velveteen Dream, it was a very great wrestler. He was great on the mic. He was great in the ring. And moving on towards that, Trevor, let's say the stigma of these allegations end up, going away or what have you, or they're proven to be untrue. Let's hope like no one got hurt and they're untrue. Where do we think Velveteen Dream could potentially land? Where do we think that Patrick Clark, who plays the Velveteen Dream or did, could possibly end up later on when his 90-day no-compete is up?
I would like to see him on the indie circuit for a little while, honestly. Like to see him surf the indie circuit for a little bit. Because as good as he is, he's still young. He still has a lot to learn. I would love to see like him developed in certain promotions that I think will give him that experience that he needs. A place that he could possibly go, a place that we scream about could be Impact, because they need talent. They definitely need talent. Major League Wrestling could use him actually. Like there's a couple places that I would like to see him go, but honestly, I would like to see him just surf the indie circuit for a while. Just get his feet wet in the indie circuit, and and come back from that.
I think Velveteen Dream, it would serve him well, and it would serve his career well if he went to a place where he can be a big fish in a small pond. I think MLW is a very interesting scenario that you just pointed out. If he goes to MLW, I think you push him to the moon. He's your world champion. Whatever gimmick you got to do to get him over, you might not even have to do a gimmick. I think Patrick Clark, as a wrestler, is a very talented individual. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's doing in and out, inside the ring. So there's a lot to be desired there. So I think if he goes to a place like MLW or even Impact, like you mentioned, it would be great for those companies because they would get a star. They would get somebody who's young. Like Patrick Clark is young. He's just like a year or two older than me.
So he's like 24, 25?
He's like I believe he's like 25, 26. Regardless, he's a very young guy. He's got a lot of years ahead of him, and he's a guy you can build a company around. And does he have a little bit of a cocky and arrogant streak? Yes, he does. But who are some of the biggest wrestlers in the world? Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Hulk Hogan, as we rave on here. All three arrogant, all three cocky. Two of those three are respectful. One of them is a scumbag. But regardless, you got to have a little bit of arrogance if you want to go to the top. You got to have a little bit of confidence, and I think that's what Velveteen Dream has. I think again, if all of these allegations are proven to be untrue, I think Velveteen Dream has a future in this business as a megastar.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely believe he does. I mean, I would love. The same thing happened to Enzo Amore. Or Enzo Amore proved it was false, and he's wrestling. And he's doing okay. So I would like to see something similar to that happen to Dream. Hopefully, I'm hoping the best for him.
Yeah, and we're hoping the best for everybody, man. Like anytime things like this come up, like you really hope for the best.
Exactly.
And just prayers to anyone who's affected by this kind of stuff. Even away from this situation. Anyway, Trevor, let's move on to hopefully much lighter things. Dark Side of the Ring, my favorite weekly wrestling episodic TV show going right now.
You put it on Mondays, nothing else is on there.
Oh yeah, Mondays 8 p.m. Just give me 3 episodes.
Exactly, no one's watching anything else.
Yeah, that's 3 hours of wrestling I will 100% watch.
Exactly.
Dark Side of the Ring released their episode on the Collision in Korea pay-per-view from 1995. This was an event put on by WCW and a Japanese promotion. They came together to do this huge event in Pyongyang, North Korea in 1995, which is said to be the largest, and honestly is the largest crowd to ever attend a wrestling event. There's numbers ranging from 160 to 190,000 people each night. So upwards of 400,000 in attendance for both nights of the pay-per-view. That's insane. Collision in Korea, they told stories about how they went to North Korea, how they got there, and when they got there, their passports were stripped away. Scott Norton, who was a WCW talent, almost got arrested and interrogated and thrown into a North Korean jail. Too Cold Scorpio apparently tried to murder Hawk, and ironically enough, Chris Benoit talked him out of it, which... Not touching that one, but man, Eric Bischoff was there. One big surprise from this was, and I completely marked out when I saw this, Antonio Inoki. They got Antonio Inoki to do an appearance on Dark Side of the Ring. Literally, I was watching this on my monitor right in front of me, jumped out of my chair because As you know, Trevor, I'm a connoisseur of wrestling history, and Antonio Inoki is legit one of my favorite wrestlers ever. So a lot happened, but Trevor, give me some of your big takeaways from what you noticed and what you saw, and what did you learn? What did you not know before?
So, there was a lot about the Collision in Korea that I didn't know, and that's just being honest. I didn't realize they stripped them of their passports. Like, I knew Korea was ruthless, but I didn't know they did that. Like, I don't know if we can talk about it, but they tapped Scott Norton's phone call. Like, that was crazy. Like, in the whole fight with Tuco, Scorpio, and Hulk. I love the what Scott Norton said about it. He was like, yeah, he was sick. He had a cold, runny nose, wasn't feeling well. You can believe what you want, Tuco, but if he was better, he'd whooped your ass.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't think anyone's gonna look. No disrespect to Tuco Scorpio. There's a reason he was trying to make a toothbrush into a shank to try to stab Hawk. It was because he knew in a straight fight like Hawk would get him. Although he got Hawk on a bad day. That
lucky him.
Much like Joey Styles caught JBL, it still counts.
It does. You know what? Does. I can't stand it now, but that made me happy. But
yeah.
But no, like it was really interesting. And also, I don't know, I haven't said this actively on this show, but I absolutely love Scott Norton. I've always thought Scott Norton was a very underrated wrestler. I've always been a fan of Scott Norton, so it was great to see him because I hadn't seen him in years. It was just. And to hear Bischoff talk about it too, like he actively believed that I don't think he knew most of what was happening either. Like I think Antonio Inoki knew more than they thought he did, but I don't think either one of them really knew what was really going on in Korea when half the program and stuff was going on. And the whole pool table thing, that was insane.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you need to understand about a country like North Korea is it's an isolated state, and their thing is they genuinely see, or even especially back then, they genuinely see Americans as the enemy because that's the propaganda that they're fed, and it's no fault of the North Korean people. That's to be sure. It's no fault. It's the government of North Korea that does this, which is why, like I think Bischoff might have mentioned this on here or possibly on his podcast. I was listening to his podcast where he was talking about it. And, he talked about how, the North Koreans are the people are not, they're blameless in all of this. They're just they're doing as they're told. They don't have money. They don't have food to eat. Like Bischoff mentioned this on I think his podcast where he said that like people are so hungry in North Korea. Like, especially back then in 1995, they just come off a big famine in the 90s. Or they might have just been going through a huge famine. There was not a rat in the city. That's how bad the famine was at the time. So you have to like take that into account, I think, when you're judging this kind of stuff. And the military in North Korea, they're very dictatorial. They're very precise because they don't want any American influence. They don't want any outside influence affecting the way they govern, affecting the way they rule, because they believe any American interference, hurts their ability to put out all this propaganda. But, just going back to the event, I think the Collision in Korea, and mind you, this was Antonio Inoki's brainchild. This was his brainchild. And I think the idea behind it I thought was good. Because here's the thing. I'm someone who believes in like diplomacy and building trust and building faith. I do think wrestling can do that in some instances. You're going to be judged no matter what, right? And this event was heavily criticized by both the media, by wrestling fans, and I think in part rightfully so, right? But also, I do think there is a little there's a little there to also take into account where it's like, how else are we going to build relations? Because the governments are sure not going to do it. Maybe someone like Antonio Inoki, who is Japanese, who was trained by Ricky Dozan, who is legend, a freaking legend.
Absolutely.
Guys, Google Ricky Dozon. He is a freaking legend. Born in North Korea, went to Japan. He trained Antonio Inoki, Alibaba, all these great wrestlers, and he so there was some respect there for him because of Ricky Dozon. So I do think, he was a guy who could build a little bit of a bridge. It didn't end up working out in the long term. We know that now, but I don't like the criticism against this. I understand them, and part of them I do agree with, but I do believe Inoki going out there and trying something is better than doing absolutely nothing and just heightening tensions. Because, I think those people, especially those people who were there, they might have, we talked about how they talked about in the documentary how nobody was into any of the matches until Inoki and Flair got in there.
Yep.
Yeah, and look, that is a testament to Antonio Inoki and Ric Flair. They got a crowd that had never seen professional wrestling before, that wasn't even interested in professional wrestling before, had no idea what they were witnessing. And they got them to get into it, and they got them to cheer, and they got them to pop. And I look, whatever you think about it, 190,000 people in a stadium popping for you, that's got to be an unbelievable sight if you're those guys.
It's got to be. It's got to be. Like, it's one of those things where, like, you're like, okay, I know nothing about this. And then all of a sudden, hey, I know that guy. And they got out there and tore it up. Like, from what they were describing it was one of those slow things. Like, they were cheering at first, but by the end of the match, they were to their feet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that had to be something to watch.
Yeah, it was. And, if you guys haven't, Eric Bischoff did an 83 weeks episode about the Collision career where he kind of went over more of the stuff. Check that out. I think Jim Cornette also covered it a little bit in his very very effective way. Goddamn, Scott Norton, no good motherfucker. Too Cold Scorpio tried to murder fucking Hawk. Oh my god,
I love him.
Oh, he's something, isn't he? He's something, isn't he? Anyway,
he's one of my favorites.
Don't outside of give me an extra cheeseburger with extra onions, extra mayo, motherfucker. Nothing out of Jim Cornette's mouth is condoned by myself or Trevor.
No, not at all. No. It's entertaining as hell, but that's about it.
Look, hey, man. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Let's move on to something that I know you wanted to talk about. Trevor, this week is the 22nd anniversary of the passing of Owen Hart. Many called him the Black Heart, the Blue Blazer, whatever you want to call him, the King of Hearts. Owen Hart was somebody who wrestling fans, even if they haven't seen him or weren't alive to see his work like myself, they love him, and he has this legacy that just nobody can. I don't think anybody in the wrestling business has ever had. There's this legacy that he's had, especially after he passed away. But Trevor, I know you're a huge fan of Owen Hart. So why don't you tell me about his what your memories of Owen Hart are as a fan, and what he meant to you, and whatever else you want to say.
No. Did you ever get any chances to watch any of his matches? Or because, like you said, you were too young to watch.
I was 2 when he passed away, so I never got to see it live. But I have seen like all the classic matches. Yeah.
So Owen Hart was one of those guys that. So of course you had this prototypical technical wrestler in Bret Hart, right? Bret Hart came out wowed everybody. Like, oh, Bret Hart, the excellence of execution. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be, which is still one of the best monikers of any wrestler I've heard in years. But then you had this guy who we think he's a Hart. We believe he's a Hart. He looks like a Hart, but he doesn't wrestle like a Hart. Owen Hart came out there and did his own thing. Actually, his influence came a lot from like guys like the Dynamite Kid, things like that. He wrestled. He did a lot of high flying, especially in his early career. Bret may get off the top rope and hit you with an elbow or a knee, but he was strictly typical. He was technical. He was not gonna do a moonsault or anything like that.
Yeah, Brett was more of a mat wrestler. Owen kind of combined that with
Yeah.
a lot of high flying, those top rope sentons, those suicide dives and whatnot. Right.
One of his signature moves, and I'm sure you know this because you know history, was a spinning heel kick. Like, and that's
Yep.
one of those things that you didn't see a lot of so-called prototypical technical wrestlers do. Owen Hart was not the blueprint. But Owen Hart took that blueprint, broke that bitch, put it back together, and built what he was. He became great on the mic. He honestly, a lot of people think he was a better talker than Brett. I mean,
Yeah. I don't think that's up for question. He was.
Yeah, he was.
All-time career, he was. He was.
Yeah,
Like,
he was the better talker.
He was primarily the reason that Bret Owen Hart feud was so good because not because look, Bret was going out there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there and wrestle for my brother Owen and we're gonna do this, but Owen Hart was like, I hate you, Bret, and that's why I kicked your leg out of your leg.
Right.
greatest
Right.
line in wrestling history.
Like, Owens was just like you said. Owens was one of those guys. You just couldn't predict what was going to happen. You knew if it was a match involved Owen Hart, it was going to be a good one. Like, back in those days, he's one of those guys that could have wrestled a brother, literally. And like, yeah, there's some things in his career that he messed up on, like when he messed up with Steve Austin, his neck. The move, he should have did it a different way. He didn't. It was okay. It happened. Steve, which to me was the biggest. It showed me that Steve Austin was a great guy when Owen died. He went out there and drank a beer for Owen Hart and all that. That showed me that Stone Cold was a great guy. Owen Hart will have a mark on every wrestling fan from that era on, because Owen Hart was he had a little stint when they called him the Nugget, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone remember when they called him the Nugget, because he's a little nugget that never died. That was what that would never flush. That was what Triple H would say.
He's not a nugget. Enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
I am a human being. But he was the little engine that could. They did, like, for a while they didn't use him because they didn't think he was as good as Brett. But he showed that he was good as Brett, in some cases almost maybe better than Brett. But it was like, honestly, if Owen Hart would have lived, the rumor was that he was in sight of becoming a champion at one point.
Yeah.
And that would have put him up there. It would have.
I think so too. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, please continue.
I was gonna say that, like, what kind of, when I think about it, what kind of stings a little bit about Owen Hart's passing, not just obviously like the fact that he died, like that's the biggest part, right? But as a wrestling fan, you do think of, like, what if? And man, you think about some of the names that came in right after he passed away: the Radicals, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko. Could you imagine
a Benoit and Owen Hart match?
Yeah,
that would have been ridiculous.
Jericho was coming in around the same time, and then you had the Triple H, who he has history with, who was becoming, like, he's going on his power trip. He's becoming, like, the Game.
Yeah.
There was like, he left us when wrestling was just like it was like the Attitude Era was already in full swing, right? But man, he was that 1999 to 2000 to 2001. That would have been a great time for Owen Hart, and he might have won the title. He actually might not have won. Kurt Angle is another name. Imagine Kurt Angle and Owen Hart, like money. He just would have had money matches with everybody. And I think he actually would have, put wrestling. That would have helped put wrestling. I think bring wrestling further along, because now you have people like Daniel Bryan. You have people like Will Ospreay. You have people like Ricochet. You have people like like Zack Sabre Jr., who follow, like, very similar ilk, like combining the mat-based wrestling with the high-flying wrestling. Bryan's probably the perfect,
he's probably the perfect.
I think, I think like there's a group of wrestlers who have a very similar style. Like, it's like Bryan, Benoit, Owen Hart, like those type of, they have a very, like, Eddie Guerrero as well. They have a very, like, similar style of wrestling and of competing in the ring. And that's what makes them so great, because that style is like probably the best, because they perfected the making wrestling look real aspect of it and the high flying aspect of it. Because Owen Hart and all these other guys that we just talked about, they had this way of, or they have this way of making wrestling look like it hurts and making it look like they're working, like they're actually exerting energy, not just going through the motions, like a Randy Orton headlock.
Right.
DDT. Like they are like it makes it look real, and you suspend your disbelief. So I mean, again, like that's just how great Owen Hart was, and a lot of people are like, man, what if? Yeah, would have been great.
I mean, and it was funny because they had a stable. Oh, you broke it. They had a stable with actually led by your favorite asshole, Jimmy Cornette, when he had Yokozuna, when he had British Bulldog, Vader, Owen Hart, and all three of those guys, unfortunately, have met an untimely demise. But I think one of my favorite memories, one of my favorite matches of Owen Hart, well, actually, one of my favorite memories of Owen Hart was when he won the Slammy Awards. Do you remember when the Slammy Awards were a thing? I don't know if you remember the Slammy Awards. Can't hear you.
Yeah, no, I remember he won the Slammy Award, and he was he made that a huge deal. He made
it a huge deal. He would come out and like jump around like this big asshole, kind of like Angle does now. Actually, reminds me a lot of it. And then it was one that I was just his program with Dan Severn when he took them to the dungeon, and him and Dan Severn, a professional MMA wrestler, a masked practitioner,
former NWA world champion too.
Yep. And they went move for move, hold for hold, and they wrestled in the Hart Dungeon. If you don't know about the Hart Dungeon, that's where most technical wrestlers especially from Canada, train.
You stretch him. Big bastard.
And that was amazing to see that, because everyone at that time thought Brett was the most technical wrestler. You saw Owen show his prowess, and that was awesome. But I guess the main thing I'm going to remember Owen for is just no matter what they told him to do. Oh, hey, go out here and join the Nation of Domination. Be the only white member. And like all this other ridiculous thing. Like
he was the Black Heart, God damn it.
He was the Black Heart in here.
WWE.
Even the Blue Blazer, which was absolutely ridiculous but super entertaining. You remember him for that. And I think my favorite match of his, besides the Stone Cold match, was the match he had with Shawn Michaels when they put Shawn got hit with the wheel kick and fainted and he was out.
Oh yeah, that was a match. I mean, look, for me it's WrestleMania 10. That's
absolutely.
That genuinely might be like it might be the best technical match ever.
Yeah,
hands down, best technical wrestling match ever, because man, those and it's just that should have been the main event, but it opened the show, so that was neither here nor there. But that match, it honestly might be the best. It really might be the best technical wrestling match ever. I can't really name, like maybe Angle Benoit submission Backlash 2001, but no, I think it's that, because that was just so crisp, and there was so much leading into that match, like
the build up was
amazing. That was a year worth of build up, and it paid off. It paid off, and Owen Hart, he's got a huge legacy. If you guys haven't, check out the Owen Hart Foundation, the website. They do a lot of good work in Owen Hart's name.
Donate, and check it out.
Donate, support, do whatever you got to do. Yeah, buy a couple T-shirts. Those new Owen Hart T-shirts, I think Pro Wrestling Tees might still have some. I'm not sure.
I think we do. I'm not sure.
But all the proceeds from those shirts, those new Owen Hart shirts that just came out, they go 100% to the Owen Hart Foundation and the work that Martha Hart and his kids Oj and Athena are doing. So check that out if you haven't.
And all Owen Hart fans, no Owen Hart in the WWE Hall of Fame.
No,
stamp it. None.
Yeah. I think that's been beat to death at this point. bad phrase, but yeah, if you still have questions about whether or not you should be in the Hall of Fame, watch the Dark Side of the Ring about Owen Hart, and you'll understand why you should never be in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, I
Rest
think
in peace, Owen.
rest in peace, Owen. We love you. And yeah. Moving on, you guys, if you have not yet, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. All right, Trevor. This is the part where this is the one I gotta be careful here. I gotta be careful, not trying to get kicked off of YouTube. So recently, world champion in Japan, Will Ospreay, had to vacate his title due to an injury, but recently we've learned a lot of new information about why he really dropped the World Heavyweight Championship. On the Voice of Wrestling podcast this afternoon, Will Ospreay said he actually vacated. It was reported that he actually vacated the belt after leaving the country of Japan against the officials of the company he was performing with. Ospreay left the country over a number of different issues, both personal in nature and related to the mounting frustrations he had with the office and everyone involved. A lot of behind-the-scenes drama apparently was going on. He had trouble with, the bookings, and he had trouble with the fact that he wasn't home. And, the pandemic really played a part in that as well. Multiple Japanese wrestlers and at least some from the office believe that Ospreay might be on his way to NXT UK. And the way the NXT UK speculation was described, it reads that there might be a misunderstanding of what NXT UK is. However, there's a lot of words coming from Japan that might be where he'll end up. You also should note that Will Ospreay is still under contract in Japan, so if he wants to leave, he would have to be granted his release. There's no indication that he's asked for one or even that, they are going to grant him one. There is talk amongst the Japanese roster. There is a very good chance of a mass foreign exodus in January, with several contracts are up. It is unknown if Ospreay's contract is up in January 2022. However, various media reports did indicate in 2019 he signed a 5-year contract. Although all of that is unofficial, we don't know exactly what's going on. So, a lot of news. It's not just an injury. Will Ospreay finally gets his hands on a world championship, and he has to vacate it for injuries and now for all of these things, these personal reasons, leaving the country, leaving the company. Trevor, what do you make of all of this?
It's a lot, man. It's a whole lot. And it's funny because it seems like the injury is what kind of started everything. Or obviously it's been going on before the industry can't speak in injury. There we go. Words. Injury.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're like when did it start? Did it start because of the injury, or is this something that happened before? I think most performers, whether you do sports, whether you do sports entertainment, whatever you do, you want to at some point be able to perform at home or go home. I'm not even sure. Does he have a family? Is he married or?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I know but from the reports, I think he is a bit homesick. He wants to be back in the UK. He wants to at least be able to go there and see people, I would assume.
And that makes sense. And again, we're not, as Omer says, we're not saying that he's going anywhere. His contract is clearly on for another 5 years. But we're just saying speculation and what we've seen. And honestly, it would make sense. A guy who's homesick, who's from the UK, it makes sense if you wanted to go to NXT, UK. But he's done so much good work where he is now. He's done amazing work where he is now. It's taken him a while, but he's on the top. It's a shame to see him drop it that quick just because of an injury. And I honestly hope a lot of it is just speculation and not true, honestly.
Yeah, look, the timing of this came very, very quickly. And there are, this week, there are multiple wrestlers did confirm that he did walk out and he is not in the country any longer. So
no, I did hear that.
So that's a big thing to take into account. That's a big step to take. And once you do that against the wishes of the company, there's a whole dynamic to be worked out there. But I do think this is an indication that Will Ospreay is unhappy with not even his current state in New Japan because he was or in that company because he was the champion. But don't worry, we'll cut that out. But I think what else the other thing that bothered Will Ospreay, I do think, is just maybe he doesn't want to work in Japan anymore. Maybe he just wants to, go home. And if that's the case, if Will Ospreay, let's say the contract work out, that grand release, let's say Will Ospreay somehow manages to get out of his contract and goes to NXT UK, what would that mean for NXT UK to get a talent of the likes of Will freaking Ospreay in their roster? Especially you got people like Walter who are already there. Like that's a dream match right there.
Crazy.
Walter versus
I was just
Ospreay.
about to say that.
Yeah.
But you have to drop. I mean, you would have to drop the title to Ospreay, though. You would have to.
Absolutely.
Maybe not right away, but you would have to give Ospreay that title. I know Walter's doing an amazing job with it, and we have both ranted and raved about how good Walter is. But you would have to give Ospreay that title. And could you imagine how stiff that match would be? Oh my God, that would be one of the stiffest matches in history.
Oh yeah. yeah, that would be great. And I think that could be a potential if you want a new face of NXT UK and you want a face that's gonna put butts in the seats, as Tony Schiavone likes to say.
Right.
That's the guy, because I'm telling you, NXT UK will sell out like 20,000 people arenas whenever it's safe in the UK to do so. If Will Ospreay is the guy, I think he is.
If you have Will Ospreay in UK, you can take him to NXT as well. And could you imagine some of those matches over there?
Oh yeah, put Ricochet versus Will Ospreay part 2 again, and
Finn Balor
or Finn Balor, man. Could you imagine they did that in WWE? That's the only disappointing thing, the fact that it would be in WWE, and they probably wouldn't let him go all out, because if there's any match you want to go all out and just forget about psychology, forget about all this stuff, just do kicks and flips. It's Ospreay Ricochet, man. Say what you want. It killed the business, as Jim Cornette said, but the business is apparently thriving and better than ever, so it didn't. But man, that first match they had was one of the biggest spectacles I've seen in wrestling. It looked like Dragon Ball Z in real life. It was awesome. It was just awesome. So,
what show was that? I remember seeing the match. I don't remember what show that was.
I could be wrong. I think it was an Evolve show. Not Evolve.
No,
not Evolve. It was, I think, maybe not ICW. I don't remember what it was. I think it was something in England. Something in England, but regardless.
But it was a damn good.
You got a lot of dream matches with Ospreay potentially being a free agent. So, and Trevor, we move on. Oh my God, I forgot. It's a long show, guys.
Shit.
So let's move on, guys. Let's move on to another thing that we are going to talk about, and that is AEW's new TV deal. Before we get to that, though, remember to like, share, and subscribe for daily videos on this here channel. Trevor, let's get to it. AEW All Elite Wrestling had some big announcements this week. The wrestling company announced a new TV agreement that will see them add another weekly television show to their lineup. You already have AEW Dynamite on TNT. You got Dark and Dark Elevation on YouTube. And now AEW Rampage will air on TNT in August. The show is set to be held on Fridays at 10 p.m., so it will not interfere with SmackDown, and rightfully so. It was announced as part of a deal that will see both Dynamite and Rampage move over to TBS in 2022, which is a good thing, and I will explain why in just a minute. Dynamite will be staying on the same night once the move happens at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. The time slot for Rampage, however, could change, so that Friday night time slot might change in the next 6 months. But one of the other big things that came out of this is that AEW has signed a deal to produce 4 quarterly big-time TV specials on TNT throughout the year 2022, much like Saturday night's main event, much like Clash of the Champions, much like they've already been doing with these big dynamites like Winter is Coming, Fighter Fest, and whatnot. So look for a lot of those, maybe those big shows to be moved over to TNT on those quarterly things. But Dynamite and Rampage moving over to TBS next year, Trevor. What do we think about AEW adding another show to its lineup, first of all?
I think it's smart. I mean, you have, like you mentioned, you have the Dark, and you have the one on Mondays, which are seen on YouTube. But like, I mean, you're getting ratings, of course, but you're not getting those TV ratings. So I think it makes sense to pull a WCW and have a show like Thunder or something, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. But the greatest thing about Rampage, and I know you understand this, Omar, it's only an hour. It's only an hour. So we get 3 hours of AEW a week, not counting the two other shows. 3 hours of AEW a week. That is great. That's awesome. That's all you need.
And they're spread out throughout the week, so I don't have to sit down in one night and watch all of it.
Yeah. And I think it's very smart for TNT to keep some of the rights so they can actually, show some of the bigger shows on, TNT as well. I think it's a great move. It's a great deal. I actually like it. I really do like it.
And the way Tony Khan laid it out is that, this was financially better for AEW. It's also logistically better because TBS is shown in more homes than TNT, so they're getting more exposure, and so it's going to be. So that's what I was saying. It's a really good thing that they're going to be moving over to TBS, and this, what this shows? This shows that they have the network. Time Warner has a lot of confidence in this product. So they are investing a lot of time for this move. Partially it's due to the NBA playoffs, and they want to make sure that there's a little to no disturbances moving forward. So I do think, though, that this is an amazing move for them. They've obviously going to be financially better off for it, and we know in wrestling a lot of the money comes from these TV deals. So I think this is great. Like I said many times, AEW Rampage adding another show is good for their brand because now it kind of it stretches out the brand. Now you have a show on Fridays and you have a show on Wednesdays. So you're able to get more exposure, you're able to get talent more exposure, and you're able to build storylines further out. And that's what Tony Khan highlighted. Tony Khan highlighted that Rampage isn't going to be, Velocity or Sunday Night Heat or even like Main Event. He wants that to, he said it's going to be equal to Dynamite. He said it's going to be like an equal show to Dynamite on equal footing with, similar or sometimes different storylines. And I think that's good because you got a lot of guys in AEW that really could be used. Jungle Boy is a big one that I think has been very underutilized as of late. And I think, if he's like the king of Rampage or whatever, or he moves over to he dominates Rampage, that would be great for him. That would be great for a lot of people. Joey Janela is someone I know you have said you want to see succeed. I think that would be good. So adding another hour is good. The fact that it's on a different night is even better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Khan, thank you so much. But yeah, I think that's great. These quarterly specials too, I want to get into a little bit. This is also dope because you're also keeping that connection with TNT, and I think if you move Winter is Coming over, you build that up. It's like a pay-per-view like event on TV. Mm-hmm. It's gonna draw some people over to TNT and cross promote, and that's what Time Warner wants. That's why this move is happening, and it just shows that there is more confidence than ever in another wrestling product that isn't WWE, and that is good. That means it's going to be better for other companies, whether it be NWA, MLW, who's already got a new TV deal with Vice. Like, this is good. This is good. What I'm seeing from wrestling right now is really good.
I'm excited, honestly, because like you said, it's good for wrestling. It's really good for wrestling, and it's honestly, with the MLW coming, and I can't wait for that, actually. I mean, and I would love to see an actual NWA show actually on TV instead of on YouTube. But, it's good for wrestling. It's a great move. It's a smart move by Tony Khan and the rest of the company. It's great. I don't see anything absolutely wrong with this at all. Like, this is a smart move. Definitely a smart move.
100% a smart move. And again, this, you know what this is gonna help if all of this is successful. AEW is gonna get an even better deal in like 3 years when they renegotiate their contract.
Oh, absolutely.
And then they're going to have more money and they're going to have more resources to put towards the talent. And that's good. That's how you build a brand. So Tony Khan, he knows this. He knows how to build teams. He knows how to build a brand. He's doing well. Good luck to the Jacksonville Jaguars, though. I don't know how you fix that.
Can't fix stupid.
Although they have the best mascot in the NFL. Jackson DeVille. Pro wrestler Jackson DeVille. We'll get to him in a second. Yeah, so I think that's good. Happy to see it. Cannot wait. Although, fuck you, Tony Khan, for stealing my idea. Rampage was my idea back in 2009 when I had my backyard wrestling promotion. That was the name of my weekly TV show that I booked out. I have the papers to prove it. I will pull them out. This is copyright infringement, Tony Khan. You are cease and desist, buddy.
Did you actually wrestle, or did you just have the promotion?
We had a treat, dude. Bro, Trampoline Mania.
Oh, excuse me.
OBW, our backyard wrestling. OBW's Trampoline Mania. I was the referee, the commentator, and the world champion. I was Dusty Rhodes, baby. Booking myself in the main. Look at Hulk Hogan. Oh, brother, I'm gonna book myself in the main event, brother.
Ours was it was called hallway wrestling because we did it in high school in the hallway.
on concrete. At least I did it on a freaking trampoline.
I mean, that's how it started. And then
is it like those YouTube videos where those guys like wrestle in the subway? It's like, oh my god, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Undertaker, ladies and gentlemen. He's oh my god, he's in it too. That is wild, brother. He's go ham on the subway. That's wild to me. Oh man,
that was great.
Cease and desist. That's all that was. Hey. And also, dude, I saw a logo out there that's floating around out there. Same fucking color scheme. Damn it.
That's hilarious. That's funny.
I should have trademarked that. Anyway, let's go to the fan question of the week. If you guys aren't familiar with this, this is the part of the show where we take a fan question, and I promise all of you, right after this, we are getting into the Double or Nothing preview. I know we've gone like an hour and a half into the show and not even talked about Double or Nothing.
Nothing we're supposed to do.
but I promise you, Double or Nothing is coming up after this next segment where we're going to be doing our fan question. So our fan question of the week, and this came from Roger from I don't know where because he didn't tell me, but Roger from Parts Unknown asks, what was your favorite wrestling event that you ever let me start that one more time. Roger from Parts Unknown asked us, what's your favorite wrestling event that you attended live in person?
Was it event moment or just event? It was just favorite event.
Let's do event. Let's just do full event. Your favorite event that you attended live.
So I'm going to say 2 only because so I was at the very first AEW, right? And I think you were there too.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
Whoa.
That was cool only because it was the first one. Right? It was the first one. It was amazing. The atmosphere was great. I got to meet Jay and Silent Bob. I got to meet a couple other wrestlers. It was really cool. Great. Great atmosphere, great vibe. But my all-time favorite will probably be, I don't remember the year. It may have been 97 or 96, but it was Survivor Series, pretty much number 8 of the Survivor Series.
It was probably 96 because Survivor Series 97 was a Montreal Screwjob.
Yes, so it was 96. You're absolutely right. 96, where was it? Well, anyway, but it was the one where...
Where was it?
It was USA Arena.
USA Arena?
Yeah, it was the last wrestling event at USA Arena. So it may have been 95.
Was it? Where's that at?
That's in what's that?
Was that the one in Landover?
Yeah.
That was 95.
Yeah, that was 95. Yeah, 95. Where where there was an ongoing feud with one Undertaker in rest in peace, King Mabel. Mabel had crushed his face, and he was wearing the Phantom of the Opera mask.
Oh God.
Yeah, and that was also the one where Shawn Michaels and Ahmed Johnson were on a team, and it was a Survivor Series match. That was one of my favorite events because it's actually technically my first wrestling event. And Bret Hart threw his sunglasses at me, and this little bastard kid stole them out of my hand. And kid, I'm still thinking about that. If I find you, I'm kicking your ass.
But oh my God, Ahmed Johnson and King Mabel in the main event. No wonder WWE was losing money in '95.
It was a Survivor Series match. King Mabel.
I wonder who's going over in that match. Like, come on.
So King Mabel was on the King team, of course, with Jerry King Lawler, blah, blah. And then the Undead team, I forget who was on the team with Undertaker. Yeah. I don't know.
Jerry the King Lawler, King Mabel. This is jobbers to the moon right now, bro.
But no, Ahmed Johnson and Shawn Michaels were in another match. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
But still bad. But yeah, it was great. Goldust fought, and I think he was stripped to his underwear and ran around. I don't know.
That was against Big Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bigelow, yeah, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the night that Bret Hart put an end to the worst title reign since Jinder Mahal, and he beat Diesel for the WWE title or WWF title.
Yeah, it was. That was his fourth. I want to say that was his fourth belt or fifth.
It was.
No, I think I meant fifth.
Well, it was Diesel's last, so thank God.
It was. It was Diesel's last. It was.
What a pittance.
It was. Hey, you leave Diesel with his 6 moves alone now. He was Shawn Michaels' bodyguard. He had a reason.
The Rock completely buried that gimmick when he just went.
Yeah, it was terrible. But no, that was probably my favorite event.
Well, that was certainly an interesting event. So obviously AEW Dynamite #1, October 4th, in 2019, live in the greatest city in America, Washington, D.C. Amazing night, an amazing arena, an amazing atmosphere. Like, that was like literally one like a night I'll never forget, but it's not my favorite wrestling event that
It was great. It was a great event.
This is going to catch a lot of people by surprise. My favorite event that I attended live was live in Baltimore, Maryland, TLC 2011. And it's solely because that was the night where Mr. Money in the Bank, Daniel Bryan, cashed in his chance at a world title and beat the Big Show for his first ever world championship in wrestling, in WWE. And when I tell you, man, this is 2011. This is before Yeselmania took off. I was like the only person. Big Show was laid out by Mark Henry after the match. I was praying. I was screaming. You can ask anyone who was there with me. My friend Kevin will vouch for this. Even going into the event, I was like, dude, please let him cash in Money in the Bank at the event I go to. I was pleading with the Lord, Trevor, that this would happen. And when it happened, if you listen close, you can hear the scream of a child. I screamed. I marked out when Daniel Bryan's music played, and there was like this other little kid right next to me who was like, no, the Big Show's awesome. And I'm like, mind you, I'm also like, I think I was like 14 or whatever when this happened. And I was like, and I look over at this kid, I'm like, fuck you, kid. Daniel Bryan's the American Dragon's about to kick his fucking head in. I'm like losing my mind. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen live. Literally, him going up on the announce table, holding the belt in the air, me getting there to witness it. And it's a big gold belt, so that made it even more exciting for me. It was great. It was like literally, I got my money's worth right then and there. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of how it was when I saw the Survivor Series, because that was my first time seeing Shawn Michaels live, and my favorite wrestler. So, and he just came back from injury. It was awesome. And then the kid stole my Bret Hart sunglasses. I had a cast on my arm. I really wanted to hit him with it. And I was what, 11? Yeah, I was 11. So it was 95. I was 11. I'm like, motherfucker. It was great. It was great.
That was great, man. We should go to a wrestling event together one day.
We should.
We should. Yeah. Let's go to Raw.
Oh God.
We will live stream that from the.
That would be great.
Our reactions,
bro.
Sure, it'll be, dude. I feel like it'll be much better to go to live than like watching at home. Because like
I've seen them live. I mean, they are kind of entertaining live because it's different fans you meet, and some of these.
It's always fun to go. It's always fun. It's like watching baseball on TV. Unless your team's like in the playoffs, like it's like But man, we'll go into a baseball game. So much fun. It's like funnest experience we'll have. Just hanging out.
Just
with
like hockey. Hockey games fun too.
Oh, dude, hockey. I was wrong about hockey for a long time. Recently got into it. God damn, the Caps always choke. Moving on, though. Let's move on to why we're here. The name of my clickbaity title. I know. I'm so sorry, fans, that it took this long to get into it. Yeah, we are. AEW Double or Nothing. It will be live this Sunday on pay-per-view. And Trevor, let's take a look at this card because it is a fantastic card. Oh, you got on one hand, we got the non-title matches. We have Hangman Adam Page taking on Brian Cage of Team Taz in a feud to end this feud. Oh my God, I messed that up. Cody Rhodes will be taking on Anthony Ogogo of The Factory to try to avenge his team, to try to avenge the members of his team attacked by The Factory. Anthony Ogogo will be representing them. Sting and Darby Allin will be taking on Scorpio Sky and All Ego and Ethan Page in a tag team match. Darby Allin, of course, was injured by Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and he eventually lost his AEW TNT title. The Pinnacle taking on the Inner Circle in a Stadium Stampede match, a match in which if the Inner Circle lose, they are done. They are going to be forced to break up. And then our last non-title match, the Casino Battle Royale for a future AEW World Title match. That's going to be interesting. That was the first ever match that AEW ever had, a Casino Battle Royale in their history. And we're going right back where it all begins again, as JR would say. And then we got our upper card. The upper card matches, the title matches for AEW Double or Nothing. The Young Bucks are putting their AEW tag team titles on the line against the team of Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. Miro defending his TNT championship against the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer. That's sure to be a great match. Hikaru Shida, the longest running champion in AEW history, defending her belt against the Good Doctor, Britt Baker, DMD. And finally, the main event for the AEW Men's World Championship. The cleaner, the best wrestler of the past 10,000 years, Kenny by God Omega, putting his title on the line against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy and the Bastard Pack. What a show this is gonna be, Trevor. So, before we get to breaking down each match on the card, which we will do, Trev, why don't you tell me about what you are looking forward to most? What do you like what are your big takeaways from just running through the card? What are you excited about most? What you're not so excited about? Or, what do you think of the potential for this card? Go.
I gotta be honest. I love Cody, but I'm not super excited about that match. I'm not. I love Cody, and I think it's great that he's gonna, for one night only, be the American Dream. That part I'm excited about, but the match, not so much. Britt Baker. Oh, I can't wait for that match. Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida. Oh, I can't wait.
That's my main event. That's my main event, right?
I think it's gonna be the best match on the card. Honestly. That and the Inner Circle is going to be an amazing match. I don't know how, and this is coming from a fan of Sting. I don't know how Darby Allin's thing is going to go.
It's going to be interesting. We'll talk about that specifically because that's one where I'm interested to see what Sting can do. But
me too. I'm interested to see what the 60-year-old guy says.
61.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all these matches will be great.
Last question before we get to previewing the matches, which I promised we'll do. Last question: is this a better card than going into the event than AEW Revolution this past February? Where does this rank amongst AEW events, like, the cards going into it?
If it's better than Revolution, it's only better by like 1 point.
Yeah, and we thought AEW Revolution was like the best going into it, the best card they ever put on. But here's the thing: I think there's a little bit less excitement for this card, but I think this is going to end up being a better event because
I think so too.
Because I think you see a lot of new faces in higher places. Miro, you got Orange Cassidy for a world championship, Pac for a world championship, the Good Doctor, Britt Baker, and Hikaru Shida, the Pinnacle now, and then Inner Circle. This is
interesting.
This is a great card, man. This has the potential to be AEW's best show, and that's saying a lot.
I can't wait for the Stadium Stampede match. It was the first one was so ridiculous and so over the top. I loved it. I really can't wait for it.
And that's the best part about it. But we'll get to Stadium Stampede. But, Trevor, let's start off by running down the card. This Sunday, it's going to be Page versus Cage. Hangman Adam Page will take on Brian Cage of Team Taz in a match largely built around Page injuring Ricky Starks, taking him out of action with a neck injury for the next few months. We've seen run-ins from Starks, Hook, and Powerhouse Will Hobbs. We've even seen the Dark Order get involved on behalf of Adam Page. This is going to be a good match. You got two of the best young, upper mid-card wrestlers in AEW. I argue Adam Page is a main eventer, but, I think he still has a way to go in the storyline they're building him in. That being said, I think Adam Page is a future world champion. What do we think of this match? What do we think of build-up? What do we think of what the predictions might be? Go, Trevor.
Like I've said before, we've said this on a couple of different shows. Adam Page, one of the best. I mean, he goes in that top five of Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy, Adam Page. Brian Cage, if you want, he goes in that top tier, and he's going to be a world champion someday. And I honestly believe the two styles complement each other so well. They work well in the ring together. They have great chemistry. The story is being built. The story is being built in front of us, and I think that's going to play out in the match. I think it's going to be a great match. This is one that I can't wait for as well. I love watching both these guys perform. I think Brian Cage has finally got his his feet under him, and he's performing at a tier that I haven't seen him perform before. I think it's going to be a great match.
Yeah, I think you got two of AEW's best in-ring performance, because Brian Cage, very underrated, man. He's a 300-pound monster who can do fucking moonsaults, who can do like shooting star presses. He's like a a Brock Lesnar light kind of version. This dude's insane what he can do. But and then you got Adam Page, who's one of the best faces in the company right now. He's been kind of on a bit of a dry run recently, but I think this is gonna go a long way to building him up. I think hopefully he'll put the Team Taz feud behind him and move on to some bigger stuff, you would think. But I think Adam Page and Brian Cage, this is going to be a great match. I think that in the end, Adam Page has to go over, and he will go over. But we've seen Brian Cage, lose matches in ways where, he haven't, it hasn't hurt him. The match he had with Jon Moxley is a perfect example of this. At Fyter Fest last year, what happened? He didn't tap out. Taz threw in the towel. So look for something maybe along those lines. But I do think Adam Page is going to go over in this match. And I think he should, because Adam Page is the guy you build the company around. He is the next world champion. And you have to. You literally have to.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Cage in a tag team. Like him and Hobbs. Him and Hobbs.
Him and Hobbs just destroying people.
I would love to see them in a tag team program with whoever the tag team champions will be. I would love to see them do that. I think that'd be great. But like you say, Adam Page has to go over, because it's not hurting Cage to lose matches. One, and I think they have something planned differently for Cage, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, again, It doesn't hurt Brian Cage. I think Brian Cage, actually, and this is something we can talk about down the line, Brian Cage, Will Hobbs, and Ricky Starks down the line, when they do have that trios tag team title, the 6-man tag team title, that's a team right there. That's a formidable 6-man team
I
to
like
be
Ricky Starks.
tag
I
team.
think he sucks on the mic, but I love Ricky Starks.
Well, that's why you got Taz out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Big ups to my man Ricky Starks. That's all Taz says in my mind. Big ups to insert person's name here. Let's talk about something else. A match that I know you're not really looking forward to, but again, I think it's going to be interesting to see what these two can do.
Yeah.
After weeks of feuding with the Factory, Cody Rhodes is going to be able to get his hands on members of the Factory, starting with Anthony Ogogo. Anthony Ogogo, of course, has been baiting Cody Rhodes, saying stuff about America, whatnot. And Cody Rhodes came out and cut this impassioned promo about how he's bringing back the American dream and how he's a good old boy from Atlanta, Georgia, and how he's going to stand up for America. And, part of it, I think, was interesting. Like you said, he's bringing back the American dream gimmick for this one-night event, right? But it's also like, well, what gets to me is it was weird to hear him say some of the stuff because it was very, patriotic. It was very cliched, and it kind of played on the old, patriotic American versus foreign evil heel gimmick, which,
right.
Yeah, it has its place, but it's also like, I don't know. I feel like it works less so when you try to force it in this setting, unless it's like a Rusev type thing. I think that kind of had its own reasons for working out. Rusev playing on that thing it worked better, but here it seems to not really work out. I don't personally feel like it's working out that well, but we'll have to see what happens. I still think it's going to be a great match. But what do you think about the dynamic they've kind of made here in this match?
See, that's why it was kind of weird for me because at first they were building up QT Marshall. You know what I mean? They were building up Marshall to be this guy that Cody was going to fight, because he was QT ran out to the bus. Cody jumped on him. They had this big brawl. You thought that was what was going to be. That's what I thought. But then you have Anthony Ogogo draping the flag over Cody and changing the aesthetics, which is fine, but it should have probably gone that way from the get-go. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And again, with the whole, with the I'm a real American and this invader comes in, it's been done to death, and it's been done, and I feel like it's been done better to death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, I think Anthony Ogogo is a great performer from what I've seen of him, and I think Cody. We've always said Cody enjoys being a mid carder. I think. I mean, he doesn't have to have a belt around his waist but he puts on great performances. Every match I've seen him in has been pretty much a classic. His match, even though it was a squash match, his match with Brody Lee was amazing, and it was just that, a squash match, but it was amazing. So he's done great products, but I'm wondering what this is gonna turn out to. It's an interesting setup, and both performers will entertain me. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think this could lead down the line to more of a a 5-on-5 match, maybe with the members of the American Nightmare Crew versus the members of the Factory. So that might be what they're going for, and then Cody might have to fight Anthony Ogogo, and then everybody else in there. But man, one thing's for sure. QT Marshall is definitely not the person they're trying to get over in this feud. He's been a jobber. They made QT Marshall look like a jobber.
Because at first you thought that's what it was because he ran out and did whatever. But now, no, he's just a water boy.
no, like he gets suplexed on the American Nightmare bus. He gets beat at blood and guts clean. He Cody Rhodes just making fun of him, making him look like an afterthought. And again, I think, maybe the whole thing is QT Marshall is the leader, but he's not he's more of a managerial type leader. He's not necessarily the most physically intimidating. He lets them handle the workload, which I think could work, but we'll have to see. I'm not seen a bad Cody Rhodes match in AEW, and I don't think we're going to start now. I think Anthony Ogogo has a lot of talent. He is I believe he's a former Olympian. I could be mistaken on that.
I think bronze medalist, I believe.
Bronze medal, an Olympic bronze medalist. There we go. The first Olympic bronze medalist in AEW history. Hey, he's got a lot of potential. I know he does. So this is going to be a good test for him, being in the ring with one of the best performers in wrestling today. Can't wait to see it. That being said, I think you give Anthony Ogogo the win here. I think you.
Me too. Me too.
You made the factory look like jokes basically over the past few weeks. I think you give Anthony Ogogo the win. It doesn't have to be clean. You can have I forgot the name of the big dude they got, but you have him come out, distract, beat up Cody, you do whatever, have members of the factory interfere, and put Ogogo over. And it's gonna mean
that makes more sense, honestly. I think if you do it in a dirty fashion, it makes more sense than a clean victory. Because if you do it a clean victory, what leg does Cody have to stand on at this point? You know what I mean? Like, even though he's going to make it a great match, of course, but still making it a dirty victory makes more sense.
I agree. So I think we're pretty even on that. Anthony Ogogo is going to win, and he probably should win.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go with answering that from now on. All right, let's move on. No, that's on me. All right, moving on. At AEW Double or Nothing, we will see the team of Sting taking on Darby. Sorry. At AEW Double or Nothing, we will see the team of Sting and Darby Allin taking on Scorpio Sky and All Ego, Ethan Page in a tag team match. It's also going to be marking Sting's first real in-ring match since 2015 when Seth Rollins ended his career. We all know he wrestled a match at Revolution. That was, of course, a cinematic match, but in-ring, 61 years old, Sting is going to be wrestling. We remember a few weeks ago in the build-up to this match at Blood and Guts when Sky and Ethan Page attacked Darby Allin, injuring him. The next week, Darby Allin took those injuries into a match with Miro and lost his TNT title that he had built months building up. So there's a lot of bad blood between these people. Sting was also attacked by these two. What do you think about this? What do you think about the build-up and the team of Sky and Ethan Page? Because I think Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, this is a really good tag team.
Oh, I think it's a great tag team. And also, I think they silently and slowly built this up since Scorpio Sky lost to Darby Allin. That was the seed. That was the seed that planted it. And then you saw Scorpio Sky transform it into this heel, which honestly, I think it suits him. I like it. I definitely like it. And then Ethan Page, I was happy when they brought Page over, because I hope I wasn't the only one that thought of the matches that Darby Allin and Ethan Page have already had together, like amazing matches that they've had together. And so I'm like, okay, so let's see if something else great happens. And lo and behold, here we go. And again, I'm very interested to see what Sting can do in the ring still. We haven't seen him do we've seen him do Scorpion Death Drop, Scorpion Death Lock. We've seen him do a slow down version of the Stinger Splash. But we haven't really seen him do anything really yet. And I'm wondering what he still has in the tank. He looks in good shape. He really does. For a 61-year-old, looks in good shape. So yeah, I'm interested to see.
I think and this is also a question I have for you. But to answer the question of what do we think Sting's role in this match is going to be, I think he's going to go out there. He's going to do more than we think he's going to do, but not as much as probably like many big Sting fans or many people who are. Or even Sting himself might think he could do. I think it's going to be a bit of an even thing. Like, he's going to go do some stuff that might be like, oh my God, he's 61?
He's still doing that? Right.
And he's still doing that, but I don't think it's going to be like a heavy workload. Sting's not going to work the majority of the match. I think Darby Allin is going to probably get beaten up for a long time, hot tag the Sting. We'll see what happens, but I think he's going to do well. I hope he's going to do well because we've seen he has looked good, and say what you want about the cinematic match they did at Revolution. It takes a lot to do that. It genuinely takes a lot to do some of the stunts that Sting did. Yeah, and we know that Sting still has a passion of it. I like the fact that they're not like saturating everything about making it about Sting, Sting, Sting. Darby Allin is clearly the person like who's running that team. Like he's like the main figure on that team. Sting is more like a he's like he just adds to Darby Allin's kind of character because he's like a mentor, and I like that. I like that dynamic that they have, So that's what makes it a little different than what other companies would do, or be like, oh, the old guy's the emphasis instead of the new guy. Like I like what they're this pairing. I think it's going to be good for both of them. And the question that's been on my mind, this is a hard one. This is a genuinely probably the hardest match for me to figure out. Who do we think is going to win, Trevor? Who do you think is going to win, and who should win?
I was just thinking this. I was just thinking about that. Like, who should really win this match? Like, okay, so on one hand, you have Stinger and Darby Allin. Darby Allin's lost the belt. They've been getting attacked for weeks. They should probably win, right? I mean, put the faces over. They should win, right? Then you have Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page. Neither one of them have really won a match, too many matches recently. And then you have, the fact that they're both a team and they're both heels, and they're trying to make them look legit, Honestly, in this one, I honestly think Sky and Ethan Page. I think Sky and Ethan Page, and I think it makes more sense because from what my knowledge, unless he's done it on Dark or the Dark Elevation, Ethan Page hasn't won a match that I've seen.
Yeah, I think that might be true. And look, you're trying to build new people. That's what AEW's always been about. This could be a good way to do it. And you don't have to beat Darby Allin. Sting could be the one to take the pinfall, and that's perfectly fine. That's why you bring in Sting, because he's the vulnerable older wrestler. And I don't think they're going to do, I can promise you, they're not going to do the thing where Sting comes in, cleans house, and defeats everybody. Like that's not going to happen. I think the way to go is for Sky and Ethan Page, if you want them to win, to get Sting and take advantage of him, and then, get the pin over him. You don't pin Darby Allin because he already lost his TNT title, although we have not talked about that, he looks strong. Strongest defeat of an incumbent champion ever. That was amazing. But
it's crazy.
That being said, I think Sky and Paige are going to go over, but I want Darby Allin and Sting to win because I want to see Sting and Darby Allin win. I do too. Yeah, I think we all do. So we'll see what happens there. Good luck to Sting, man. I genuinely wish him the best.
I think it's what he's doing takes a lot of guts. It does.
Amen. He's a better man than I. I would probably just...
I'd be sitting at home drinking beer at this point.
Yeah. That's what you be doing. I'll be there in 5 minutes. God damn, it's been 6 hours. Anyway, moving on, Trevor. Let's talk about this because this is a hell of a match coming up. Up next, we have the Stadium Stampede, which pits the members of the Inner Circle versus the members of the Pinnacle, MJF and Chris Jericho. Their feud has expanded out after Blood and Guts, where the Pinnacle won, injuring Jericho, and the Inner Circle. Starting over on there. I messed that up. Get damn, stretch him. Sorry about that. Let's start that one again. Up next, we have Stadium Stampede, which pits the members of the Inner Circle versus the Pinnacle after the Pinnacle won at Blood and Guts, injuring Chris Jericho, and the Inner Circle are looking to even the score here at Double or Nothing. We saw what happened last year at Stadium Stampede. It was a fighting all over the arena, all through Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium. We saw transformations. We saw bar fights. We even saw Jags mascot Jackson DeVille get involved in the action, which was my favorite spot in wrestling history. There's literally no telling what could happen. This is cinematic comedy match, but it's going to work because of the people involved. We do know there's a big stipulation, however, in this match, and that is if the Inner Circle loses, Trevor, they will be forced to break up. What do we think about the stipulation? What do we think about this Stadium Stampede?
So, again, I mentioned earlier that I loved the Stadium Stampede match because it was absolutely fucking ridiculous, and it was fun. It was interesting. It was bloody, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I think you have two. First off, we have two of the biggest goofballs in wrestling with MJF and Jericho, and I think they proved it with their little dancing scene while they're eating steak, like which is still one of my favorite things that's happened in wrestling in a while.
That genuinely might win AEW an Emmy. Like I'm no cap there. I think that actually like put them up for an Emmy award.
Dude, that was one of my favorite things that's happened in wrestling in a long time. And for a long time, I don't know if I voiced this, but I couldn't stand MJF for a very long time. But he's a lovable asshole now, or my jerk off best friend. But I think honestly, this match fits both teams very well. I think it's gonna be a very interesting match. I think there's a possibility that the Inner Circle could lose, but I don't know what that will actually do. Like, what's the purpose of that? You know what I mean? I don't really see the purpose of that.
Right. See, for me, I think that this stipulation does add stakes to it, which again, love AEW for putting stakes in every match on the card, right? For me, though, I think this is probably match 2 of a 3-part, series between these teams. I think it was good you had the heels in the Pinnacle win the serious match at Blood and Guts. I think that was the right move because you put them over very strongly. You showed they were willing to do whatever was necessary in order to win that match. And, it came off very serious. And then here, you got more of a comedy match. You got more of a lighthearted, but like still a fight, right?
Right.
I think this is the perfect match for the Inner Circle to beat the Pinnacle, but not take away from, the seriousness of the Pinnacle and not really hurt them. I think this is a perfect match for them to do that. And then, leading into whatever they do, hopefully at All Out or, whenever they decide to have a rubber match, because I think that would also set up a great rubber match. So that's where I see this going. And as far as the Inner Circle breaking up, I do think eventually they have to. They have to, because you're seeing Sammy Guevara starting to come into his own. You're seeing Santana and Ortiz, who already had a lot of potential and talent to begin with, really also coming into their own. I think I want to see them in the tag team division. Jake Hager. Maybe you put Jake Hager and Chris Jericho together as Jericho as Hager's manager, going around and doing something there, and you have Jericho on commentary. He doesn't have to be wrestling all the time, right? So there's a host of things you could do by breaking up the Pinnacle, breaking up the Inner Circle. I just don't think it's here. It is not at this moment.
At this moment, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense. Because it depends on what they're going to do with the tag team, which we're going to talk about later anyway. But depends on what you're doing with the tag team, and because like Santana Ortiz have vocally spoken out that they're one of those guys that don't really need the title. You know what I mean? Like they're that good that they don't really need the title, but it'd be fun to see them with it. Like and Sammy Guevara is another one that doesn't necessarily need a title, but I think it would help his career tremendously. I would love to see him with the TNT title around his waist and eventually AEW title.
I think also like the big thing that plays into this is, okay, I think you and I are pretty much in agreement that Inner Circle is likely to win this match, right?
Right.
The other thing that plays into this, going into a rubber match maybe, what else does the Inner Circle have to do? Like, what do they have left to accomplish? They've run a rough shot through as the top heels. They've become the top faces of the company, and now there's this other big faction, the Pinnacle, that's looking to take over. A very Four Horsemen like faction looking to take over that spot. And I do think we have kind of reached the beginning of the end of the the Inner Circle as far as what they can do, because there's not much left for them to do in their current state. So I do think the Inner Circle will break up eventually. I just don't think it's this Sunday at Double or Nothing.
I think they'll break up eventually too. It could happen this Sunday.
Eventually soon.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did it this Sunday, but I don't necessarily think it's gonna happen this Sunday. And again, one of the only things they've never done is the whole team has not held gold. Only Jericho's held gold, and I think that's the only thing that they could possibly do.
Yeah, that is a thing they could do, but I think the time for that has kind of come and gone, hasn't it? Yeah, because Jericho lost the belt. Like we're seeing the picture here. That's from before 2020. That's from 2020, before the pandemic. So, like there was a time to do that. I think the time for that has come and gone, unfortunately, and that's okay because we didn't see when the Shield, one of the greatest teams in history. We didn't see all of them hold, the world title and the tag team titles. With Evolution, we saw exactly that. But you know what I'm saying? I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to. I think this is a good way to start the beginning of the end and build up the pinnacle, because that's the whole goal of this. You build up the pinnacle to become the next big thing, so to speak, on Dynamite. And I think that's a great way to do it. And again, this match I think is perfect for the Inner Circle to win, because they can win, they can do a lot of fun comedy stuff, and it doesn't really hurt the pinnacle. So that's what I think is going to happen. That's probably what should happen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, all right. Anything else on this? Before
Pinnacle.
Huh?
I just felt like saying Pinnacle. Sorry.
Well, we have reached the pinnacle of the show. It's like, no, we haven't. We still have like 6 other matches to go.
We got like 70,000 things to go.
But we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. Let's talk about it, Trevor. Let's talk about the Casino Battle Royale, AEW Casino Battle Royale. This Sunday on Double or Nothing, we're going to see the likes of Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Pento El Zero Muerto, Jungle Boy, Matt Hardy, Mark Quinn, Isaiah Cassidy, The Blade, Evil Uno, Colt Cabana, Preston Vance, Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Max Caster, Anthony Bowens, QT Marshall, Nick Kermoda, I butchered his name, Dustin Rhodes, and Lee Johnson, and of course the Joker card, which we will get to in a second. But the Casino Battle Royale, the winner of this match gets a future world title shot at the AEW world title, gets a shot at potentially Kenny Omega, whoever wins on Sunday. What do we think about this? Because this is the first time we've seen a Casino Battle Royale since All Out, I believe, in 2019 or 2020, perhaps. Or, like in this format, we saw a tag team one, but not a singles one for a long time. And there's a lot of excitement about this, a lot of excitement about who's involved, who could show up, who could win. Outside of the Joker card, of the people I just named, who do you think has the best chance to win, and who out of these people should win?
I have to remember names now.
There's some big names out here. Like I said, they got Jungle Boy, Christian Cage, Matt Sydal, Powerhouse Will Hobbs, Max Caster.
Man, some big names. Like I would say Jungle Boy.
Interesting.
But only because of the fact that he has been catching a lot of momentum here lately. He's been outshining a lot of wrestlers and doing a lot of good work. He's, like I said, he's in that top 5 of people I named earlier. He possibly could win this battle royal and win a future title shot. But also, Mr. Outwork Everyone is also in that match. And the way they've been billing it is like he might be trying to go after Kenny Omega, and they might be trying to build something silently. So I think you can go either two ways. I mean, there's so many names, but I think two of the ones that make more sense are Cage and Jungle Boy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think those are the big two of the people that are scheduled to be in the match. There is the Joker card. Anyway. Yeah, but I think those are the two that make sense for a world title match. I think Christian Cage out of those two makes the most sense because he's already had that history a little bit. He came out and he had a face off with Kenny Omega, and he said he had to earn a shot. No better way than to do it in what I think is AEW's best signature match. I love the Casino Battle Royale. When this was AEW's first match that they ever did at Double or Nothing 2019. and I thought it was great. It was great
But
to
it made
see.
sense. It was so much fun to
It
watch.
made sense, and it was their version of the Royal Rumble. Yeah, sure. And they made it work. They made it work. I love the Joker card. I love like this Joker aspect of anyone could show up as that Joker card, and we've seen a lot of debuts there. So we'll see what happens there. But as far as who should win of the people we know, Christian Cage is at the front of that line. And he probably should be, because Christian versus Omega, Christian versus Pac, Christian versus Cassidy. All three of those are prime time matches.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I mean, and not to mention Christian Cage is coming off some of the best matches. Well, actually, three of some of the best matches he's had in his career. Like, honestly, it would make perfect sense for him to win this match.
At 47 years old, outwork everybody, and that's what he's been doing. So, speaking of the Casino Battle Royale match, let's talk about the big question that's on everyone's mind. Let's talk about the big question that's on everyone's mind. Could we see Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson,
and you would be happy,
debut for All Elite?
It's a pig and slop. You would be happy as hell.
I would be. All right. Big question on everyone's mind. Could we see Daniel Bryan, a.k.a. Bryan Danielson, debut for All Elite Wrestling this Sunday at Double or Nothing? With the Casino Battle Royale, we know that there's a Joker card, the last mystery person. And usually that's a big surprise. Every time we've had a Casino Battle Royale, we've seen a new person debut or make an appearance, a shocking appearance at that. In the past, we've seen Matt Sydal, Hangman Adam Page, Brian Cage, and I believe Mercedes Martinez as well on the women's side.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of some big surprises, a lot of big debuts, and the reason why Bryan is rumored to be in this spot is he's the biggest name out there on the free agent market that could possibly sign with All Elite Wrestling right now. Bryan's contract ran out last month. He does not have a 90-day no-compete. He is a free agent to do as he pleases. We know he's talked about retiring. We also know he's talked about having dream matches with some wrestlers that just happen to be in AEW.
Yeah,
so
one of them is a champion.
So big question on everyone's mind. I know it's on my mind. Are we going to see Daniel Bryan make his debut at the Casino Battle Royale at Double or Nothing?
Well, you said that he talks about his dream matches, and a lot of them in AEW, and actually, more importantly, one is the champion. So there is that, which would be very interesting. Kenny Omega versus Daniel Bryan. I'd pay a lot to see that match.
Money.
I would pay a lot to see that match. But is he going to come right away? That's the question. Is he ready to come right now? I don't know. He also mentioned about spending some time with his family as well. So if he does, if this is his debut match, I believe it's going to be his only match for a little while. You know? And that would make sense, right? Because Matt Sydal came in and you didn't see him on the show right away. After that, you saw Hangman on it, kind of immediately. But I don't know. If it is, and it would be great to see him, because I don't think there is a bigger free agent right now. I just don't see him on TV right away.
Right. So, and I think the big thing is, right, with Bryan, I think the big thing is the fact that you don't have to put him in matches weekly for him to be over or to build him up. Daniel Bryan, I think if Daniel Bryan is a Joker card, let me be clear. If Daniel Bryan is a Joker card, there's no question in my mind. He has to be the one to win. He has to be the one to win, because what that does is it allows for them to build up that big dream match of Kenny Omega versus Daniel Bryan. And as much as I love Daniel Bryan, that's a way, if you want to build up Kenny Omega with a full head of steam, have him beat the most beloved wrestler in wrestling today in Bryan Danielson. That's a freaking story right there. That's how you get someone over. But I'm telling you, man, like, it's also like a thing of, if Bryan comes over, I think this is a good spot for him to come in, because I think he'll do like one run. Like, you have Bryan come in, do one run with Kenny Omega, possibly have him lose, even though I'll probably be rooting for him to win, but possibly have him lose, and then he can go off and do independence. Like, but if he's there, if he answers the phone, and if he wants to be there, you book him. You book him to win, and you book him with a younger guy. Have him go 10 minutes at the end with like Jungle Boy or something,
Right.
and like and like that's how you get them over, and it would just be a huge impact. Like, imagine that Joker card comes out. Justin Roberts is like, all right, now the Joker, and then you hear the final
you know that's
countdown.
the music's gonna use. That's the music is gonna use.
Oh yeah, and if you have the final countdown playing, 5,000 plus people at Daly's place are going to erupt. It's going to be the loudest pop of 5,000 people you have ever heard if Brian makes his debut. So Tony Khan, if you're listening, book it, my guy. Book it. Pay him all the money. I can't think
of anybody else that would be that big a pop. That would be a big pop at all, honestly.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Like, who else is there that could possibly come in and make an appearance as the Joker in this Casino Battle Royale? Like, there's...
I can't think of a free agent right now.
You know, I mean, who knows? Maybe they might go the route of bringing someone over for Impact. Maybe Rich Swann. Maybe they bring Rich Swann over. That's a way for him to possibly get his title back or get a shot at Kenny Omega. And that would certainly be a surprise. Another name that I saw out there was Brock Lesnar. That's definitely not going to happen.
No, I don't think.
No, and I don't want it to happen either. So, you know, that's the other thing that makes Daniel Bryan possibly coming over and being the guy most intriguing. And I know a lot of it is hype. It probably won't end up being Bryan, if we're being completely fair. But
it probably won't be.
There's it's more than like an impossible chance. This is like maybe like a 25% chance. This legitimately could be Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson coming over to AEW for a run. And if it is, man, be ready. Sunday's going to be exciting. And that's the thing. That's the thing that makes these all AEW shows. I like these casino matches because you don't know who's going to be there. And that's like, that element of surprise is great.
It is. So, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I'm excited.
I'm excited. The crowd's having fun, Muggle. Oh, God. All right. We're almost done. And now we move on to our title matches. First off, let's talk about this. This Sunday, the newly crowned TNT champion Miro is set to defend his title against the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer. Miro, of course, won the belt from Darby Allin and looked very strong doing so. This is a dream match, in my opinion, of two of the literally biggest stars in AEW right now. I'm talking about physically. These two are massive dudes. They're going to kick the shit out of each other. And you would think it's going to be a hell of a battle. So, Trevor, what do you think about this matchup? What do you think about Miro versus Archer for the TNT title?
You know what? It's definitely a dream match. Definitely a dream match. Both of these guys are amazing. It's like Lance Archer said, two big behemoths like King Kong, Godzilla. Like it's that big. You know, it's gonna be fun to watch. I don't think they drop the belt anytime soon, but I think it's gonna be fun to watch. I think it's gonna be a great match to watch, actually, and it's gonna be entertaining. It's definitely gonna be entertaining. But I want to see exactly because I've seen some stamina issues with Lance Archer, maybe in the past, maybe a few months ago. It seemed like he was like kind of breathing hard, like after one of his matches. I want to see if that pans out because Miro is going to go 100 miles a minute. So I want to see how that goes and see how entertaining it definitely will be.
Do you think Miro wins?
I definitely do. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't think Miro drops the title that early. Not yet. I think it's too early for Miro to drop the title. If Miro drops the title, I feel like it's going to be one of those things. And I feel like it's going to happen on Dynamite. I don't think it's going to happen on pay-per-view.
Really? That's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. I also don't see Lance Archer winning this match. However, that being said, I think Lance Archer and Miro is going to be a great match.
I don't think it's going to last long either.
But it's not going to last long, but man, those in 6 minutes, 10 minutes, however long they go, are going to be action packed, and you know it. Miro showed against Darby Allin what he can do when he's with someone like that. Lance Archer, we've seen him have great matches with Darby Allin. We've seen him have great matches with Cody. We've seen him have a great match with John Moxley as well. So he's no slouch either. Let's give Lance Archer his due.
His indie record speaks for itself.
Yeah, and I think he's someone who's like Lance Hoyt, formerly Lance Archer. He's put it all together in this run with AEW. Like he is. It's kind of like I'm kind of happy they're having this new show, Rampage. So I think it could help someone like Lance Archer, who's kind of been around, but he hasn't been doing much. It could possibly help him build up his career even more because he's great. Like the Murder Hawk Monster is a great gimmick. Him with Jake Roberts legitimizes him even more. Again, that being said, Miro should win, and I think he's going to win, but it's gonna be a match. Hey, who knows? Who knows?
Stiff as hell too. Oh, it's gonna be stiff.
Stiff as hell. Machka, baby. Machka. All right. Let's move on to another title match. This is for the tag team titles. And if you haven't already, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Let's talk about this. The AEW Tag Team Championships are going to be on the line when the Young Bucks defend the titles against the team of Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. We've seen the Young Bucks feuding with Jon Moxley ever since they turned his back on him and joined with Kenny Omega. Eddie Kingston, of course, saved Jon Moxley from the at AEW Revolution. We've seen the feud built up. Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston stole the Young Bucks shoes on Dynamite, which I thought was hilarious. But this is going to be a good match. What do you think about this match? What do you think about what we're going to see? Is it going to be like? I think it's going to be a great thing. Like seeing these four people. This is an interesting pair of tag teams to have. So what do you think about this match?
So let me be clear, and I've been vocal about this, especially in the early beginning. I cannot stand Eddie Kingston. Cannot stand him. But the work he has done since in All Elite, the match he had with Cody Rhodes, the match he had with Jon Moxley, he has definitely shown he can work. He's shown he can work, and I give him all the credit in the world because, like, he's putting in good work. He's doing his promos are A1. His interaction with Moxley has just been superb. They are both idiots, and I love it. And like you said, the shoe stealing thing was absolutely fucking hilarious. That shit was so funny, and they work well in the ring. So it's gonna be a good one. I think it's gonna be more new school with the Young Bucks, and old school versus old school with Moxley and Eddie. If I'm picking a winner, I tell you who I'd like to see win, but I'm telling you why they won't win.
Okay.
Who I'd like to see win is Eddie and Moxley. I'd like to see them win. But I don't believe they will, only because I still think they're trying to build up this dynasty with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and the Good Brothers. I think if you let...
Don't forget about Nakazawa.
I fucking hate him. But I honestly believe if you let them win, you take away from that a little bit. I think the Young Bucks will be hurt. Well, maybe not really, but hurt a little bit if you allow them to win the titles.
Okay, I see that. For me, I think the clashing of the styles is going to be the most interesting thing to see.
It is. It definitely
one thing we know: Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, they can work with anybody. So can the Young Bucks. Like I think it's gonna be a great match. Young Bucks always have great matches. Look at what they did with Kaz and Christopher Daniels. That one of the best tag team matches I've seen in a long time.
In the mocking at the end of the Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair.
I'm sorry. I love you.
I love you.
Amazing. Amazing, bro. Amazing. Amazing, Dickios. And that's what's gonna make this great, because I think this is gonna be a match that's gonna be part like great match, but also great storytelling, because Jon Moxley tells good stories in the ring. Eddie Kingston is amazing at telling stories in the ring. The Young Bucks are great. I think there's going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how their styles clash, pardon the pun. But But I do think the Young Bucks are going to end up winning. And one thing we could see happen here, I think this is also the night where I think Moxley is going to be taken out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I think
Because
it's due soon. So
yeah, I think Renee Paquette. By the way, big shout out to her. Big shout out to her new cookbook that came out. I haven't bought it, but
well, so did you get it yet?
no, but motherfuckers love to cook. You know what I'm saying? But no. In all seriousness, Renee Paquette is set to give birth to their child soon, so there's probably going to be some sort of paternity leave time as his child comes into this world, and John Moxley was allowed to procreate. That is the epitome of American freedom right there.
There's hope for everyone.
But no. In all seriousness, that's gonna be good. But I do think this is the time where they're gonna take out Moxley for an extended period of time, and I think it's gonna be good for him to kind of go away because you're gonna have other people come in and hopefully take his spot because I think we really need that, and we know them. Tony Khan wants to do the type of thing where everyone's not on TV every week. Some people have time off, and that's a good thing because it. What's it called? What's that old saying? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Absolutely.
And when Moxley appears, and hopefully in front of a live crowd, because AEW is going to start running crowds soon, it's going to be even better. So
Exactly.
I think, like I said, Bucks win, and Moxley I think is going to be beat down at the end to the point where he has to be off TV for an extended period of time.
Makes sense. No,
Makes sense. Anything else on this match?
Let's go, team anybody.
Let's go. They're having fun. All right. Speaking of having fun, I am going to be having fun watching this match. Trevor, let's talk about it. The AEW Women's World Championship will be on the line this Sunday when the champion Hikaru Shida defends her belt against the number 1 ranked women's wrestler in AEW, the Good Doctor Britt Baker, DMD. Shida has held the belt for exactly 1 year, dating back to Double or Nothing. I messed it up. We try again. Reshoot, man. Live TV, pal.
Hey,
Live TV. It happens. I'm going to run it back, though, because I fucking can. It's my show. All right. The Women's World Championship will be on the line this Sunday as champion Hikaru Shida defends her belt against the number 1 ranked women's wrestler in AEW, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Shida has held the belt for exactly 1 year, dating back to Double or Nothing last year in 2020, and has been booked strong, defeating the likes of Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, Riho, and many, many more. But one person who she has not been able to beat as of recently is the Dr. Britt Baker herself, who over the past year has proven herself to be not one of, but the fastest rising megastar in professional wrestling. There, I said it. From broken noses to crutches to the main event in hardcore matches, Britt Baker has done a lot over the past year and made the most of every opportunity put in front of her. But can she do it one more time against the most dominant champion in AEW's history, Shida? That's the question. That's the foundation of this match. Will Britt Baker be able to beat Hikaru Shida and become the new Women's World Champion?
I think you have a chance to do two things here. And it just depends on how big you want to go. Now, you have a chance to lengthen the legacy of Shida. You have a chance to make Shida not only the most dominant female wrestler in AEW history, or at this point, probably wrestling history.
She's already the most dominant champion in AEW history. She's the longest reign of any title, including men's titles. In AEW's very short history.
How long did Moxley hold his? He didn't hold it a year, right?
No, he did not hold it for a year. I believe he had 8 months or something like that.
I thought it was something like that, yeah. But yeah, you have a chance to lengthen that legacy and make it even better. But you also have a chance to make who, in my opinion, is one of the most impressive female competitors in AEW, which we've been ranting and raving about Dr. Britt Baker for months now. And I don't know which way they're gonna go, but I know that it's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be entertaining as hell, and possibly it might steal the show. It might be the best match of the night, honestly.
This is the match I am most excited for. This and a Casino Royale, I am most excited for these matches. This is a main event if I've ever seen one. Hikaru Shida, the most dominant champion in AEW history, versus Dr. Britt Baker, who I think everyone knows at this point is a future champion, and I think the future
Absolutely.
is now. You go it. You pull the trigger on her. These two are going to have a great match. You pull the trigger with Britt Baker. You turn her into the best heel in the company. Like, she's so good on promo. She's so good in the ring. You make her an unbeatable heel, and then over time, what's going to happen? A super over babyface is going to end up beating her maybe a year, maybe, who knows, 6 months from now. Either way, I think there's a clamoring to see it. I think this is the obvious decision.
I don't think she's going to hold the belt as long as Shida is, though. I think she's going to beat Shida, but I don't think she's going to hold the belt as long as
who knows, man. Long-running heel champions, they tend to work. But
they do.
But Shida, man, like props to her. It's going to be a great match, but the only choice here, like if we're being honest, the only choice here, this is going to be Britt Baker's crowning moment. You have to crown Britt Baker, DMD, as the championship of AEW, as the world champion of AEW. You have to.
I think you could do it either way, but it makes more sense to make her the champion, because what does Shida lose? Shida doesn't lose anything.
Not at all. She's been a champion for 300 days.
She doesn't lose anything. Like, I mean, she's already the most impressive champion AEW has had. You know, I mean, she loses nothing. She loses absolutely nothing. And honestly, Britt doesn't either, though. She's still, I mean, if she lost, she wouldn't lose.
No, I think because they've been building her up like over the past few weeks as a mega over star. Like, they've been laying the foundation for this, especially for a long time.
4 months, yeah.
For a year, dude. Like, go back to those shows they did in Georgia.
That's right, yeah.
Britt Baker broke her nose wrestling who? Hikaru Shida. And like, that was like the big moment where people are like, oh my God, Britt Baker can go, and she's not afraid. And then you had the hardcore match. You had all the promos, the dentistry match she had All Out last year. Like she's been built up as a big star, and again, I don't think Shida loses anything by losing the belt. She'll hold it again one day. She'll still be a main star, and she can go off and do something else. Like that's the thing.
Right.
This is how you get other women involved. You make these stars with the championship, and then Shida goes off, and maybe she can do a feud with Thunder Rosa and rekindle that. And that doesn't even have to be for a belt. That can be for for just who's the best or whatever, and that like that's how you have, because mind you, there's only one women's match on this entire card, and this is it. This is the one women's match. So if you want to have multiple, you have to find a way to build new stars, and this is how you do it. If you're Tony Khan, this is how you do it. If you're AEW, Britt Baker goes on a run with the title. Hikaru Shida goes off and faces Thunder Rosa or perhaps Nyla Rose, who we have not heard a lot from.
What about Dee? She could go after the AEW, the NWA belt.
That's true. Bring that over. The forbidden door is closed. There's a lot more possibilities, I think, with Britt Baker winning the belt than Shida at this point.
Right. So we're in agreement. Britt Baker,
DMD. DMD. I am so ready.
This is gonna be such a great match. Match.
I'm so ready.
I wonder if Adam Cole is gonna be there. Because that's
he's always backstage. He's always.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's always backstage whenever Impact, or sorry, not Impact. NXT's not doing a thing. Like Baker said that, and she's usually backstage if it doesn't conflict with AEW as well at NXT events.
I knew that because I think I saw her backstage once, but other than that,
yeah. I mean, he was at the AEW I think New Year's party or something. Like he was was there. Yeah, remember there was a video of him getting like clotheslined by Brody Lee Jr.
That's right. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, what a man. That's professional wrestling at its best. Speaking of pro wrestling at its best, did I not write that? Okay, who cares? Did I not? Oh no. I was. There's a producing thing. I had graphics ready. Oh, there they are. Okay, so here we go. the main event of AEW Double or Nothing this Sunday, a triple threat match for the AEW World Championship. The champion, the cleaner, the best wrestler of the past 10,000 years, Kenny by God Omega, defends his World Championship against the Bastard Pack and Orange Cassidy. Before we get into who we think's going to win, Trevor, let's recap some of the craziness that's gone on the past few weeks. Orange Cassidy came out and confronted Kenny Omega. The number one ranked Orange Cassidy came out and confronted the cleaner Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega scoffed at him. The match was set up Pac versus Cassidy, number one contendership of the title on the line. And we saw Cassidy get knocked out in the middle of the match, and that led to a schmoz finish in which Tony Khan announced it's going to be a triple threat match since there was no declared winner. And that is what we have here. Orange Cassidy comes into his first world championship match. Pac in his first world title match with AEW. And Kenny Omega's world championship is much peril as it's ever been in since he won it back in December. So what do we think of this match, Trevor? What do we think of the build-up? What do we think of who's going to win, the possibilities? Is Orange Cassidy going to be the AEW World Champion at the end of the night?
You know, it's big on Tony Khan and Omega and even Don Callis for coming up with something that split second when Cassidy got the scary moment when Cassidy got knocked out. Yeah. Like big on them because that was brilliant and it was great. It was great, well thought out. I mean, the scary moment, you saw him laying on the side of the ring.
Oh yeah, he was out. He was 100% out.
And kudos to him for even trying to keep going, you know. And when they came out, I'm sitting there watching it at home, I'm like, yo, bravo for coming out and making this, keeping the story, making it more interesting, and also saving one of your talents. You know, I mean, we saw this happen with what's his name? John Silver's partner, Alex. Can't think of his name. From
Stu Grayson,
Dark Order. John. Stu Grayson, or was it? Yeah,
it might have been
whoever. Guy with long hair, whatever. But he's a tag team partner with John Silver.
Right.
So they had a tag team match. And I don't know if you saw it. You probably did. They had a tag team match, and the gentleman actually got knocked out by a move. And they kept the action going, but no one attended to him right away. And I didn't like that. I like what they did much better. And I think that's part of why.
Similar thing happened at I believe it was All Out with Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara.
Did. Yeah. Yep, sure did. Yep. So
and that was very scary. So I like the way they built this up though, specifically because I think this was actually a better way to build it up than the original ending. Because the original ending for Pac and Cassidy's number one contender match was
supposed to be Cassidy, right? Oh,
no, it was a time limit draw to build to the triple threat match. Gotcha. But I think this was better because now Kenny Omega was directly involved in what could be his own undoing. Kenny Omega set this up. He set himself up for failure, and that adds to him being, a dick, dumbass heel, and that's amazing. So
but it's just gonna be a great match. It's gonna be a great match.
Yeah.
Would I like to see my man freshly squeezed is the champion? I have my cousin, he's country as hell. He says it just like that. So would I like to see freshly squeezed is the champion? Yes, but it's not gonna happen, unfortunately. We all know Omega is gonna win the belt. The cleaner's gonna come out and win the belt.
Yeah, probably.
But Cassidy's time is coming. I mean, come on, it has to. Like you've seen the work him and Pac have done in the ring. It has to at some point.
Yeah, and just to put a bow on Cassidy, whenever Cassidy does win the belt, cannot wait to see that orange that orange juice belt he comes out with.
Dude, it's gonna be amazing.
Like imagine it's just like a big orange with AEW in it, and then it's like the leather is like jeans. Amazing. Just book it, brother.
No one's gonna fucking care. It's gonna be the greatest.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. But no, also Pac. Let's not take this away from Pac.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be
No.
It's gonna be a hard hitting match. If you saw Pac and Cassidy's match, I believe it was a Revolution 2 years ago. That was an amazing match. That was like Cassidy's big breakout moment.
It was one of the first times you saw him go.
One of the interesting things is we've seen Pac and Omega go at it. We've seen Pac and Cassidy go at it. We have not, however, seen Kenny Omega and Orange Cassidy have a one-on-one match, and I think that's the interesting thing in this, like how they're gonna fare in this against each other. I think that this is like the most interesting match, a triple threat option you could probably have in all of AEW. And it's going to be good because all of these three can go. All of them can work. They understand ring psychology, and they're all over. Like, Pac, I think, is like the big wild card because I don't think, like you said, I don't think Omega's going to lose the belt. But, man, could you imagine if Pac, wins the belt? And the pop that would get, and then Pac would be a dominant heel. Like, I know that's not gonna happen, but man, he has to be world champion one day. He has to be.
You know how over Pac would be? Like, Pac would be over so hard, it'd be crazy.
Dude, he was over when they had him as Mickey Mouse or whatever or Mighty Mouse in WWE. You think now he's like this amazing bastard, like, asshole, and like he's Pac for president. But yeah, like you said, Omega is the champion. He's the heel. He has this belt collector gimmick. I don't think he's going to lose the belt at least until All Out. He's going to hold on to his championship at least until All Out because he has a match coming up with we saw last week with Andrade in August. So it wouldn't make sense for him to lose like the AEW title until at least after that has passed, because that's a big thing in AAA that they're pushing. So we'll see what happens. Again, another match that no bad matches on this card. That's one thing you can honestly say. There's not a match where you're just like, maybe the Cody Rhodes Anthony Ogogo match, but even then you're interested to see what Anthony Ogogo can do.
Exactly.
So there's a bit of a draw there. Yeah, but by far the most interesting match for me is Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker. Those are two of the best talents in wrestling right now going at it. So. Yeah,
it's gonna be a great card, man.
Trevor, 2 hours 37 minutes.
I think we made
it. Our longest show ever, but man, was it informative and interesting
and fun
Michael. Oh. Do you have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I have one thing that I mentioned to you.
Go for it.
And I've been thinking about it. Okay, so over the weekend we had. Oh,
hold up. We disconnected. Hold up.
Oh shit.
Oh, I think we're back. Yeah, we're back.
We're back?
Okay.
Am I still there?
Yeah, Backstreet's back, baby. Oh wait, hold on.
I can't see myself.
Yeah, you're messed up. All right, Backstreet's back. Sorry about those technical difficulties. Go for it.
All right, so let's go back. So anyway, over the weekend, we got a message from someone, and I will not reveal who this person is, just to keep it secret. This person sent us a message, a heartfelt message, about a show we did a while back, about a situation that happened with them.
Yeah,
and every so often when you do something that you enjoy, and I enjoy doing this, and I'm sure Omar does too, we enjoy spending a couple hours with you guys shooting shit, talking about something we enjoy. Anytime you do something that you really love and you enjoy, when someone recognizes that, especially someone in the business or someone with, high authority, recognize you and pretty much thanks you for setting the record straight on a situation, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel really, really good. And honestly, this is why I do stuff like this. I enjoy this. I love doing this, and to get recognition back from someone who I admire, who I think is an amazing performer, and hope nothing but the best for them in future. It makes me feel good. So you know who you are. On behalf of me and Omar, I want to say thank you. And I'm glad we could make you feel better about what happened to you.
Yeah, I think I echo your sentiments there. And look, it's also one of those things like, you on YouTube, it's easy to go for low-hanging fruit, right? It's very easy to be like,
right. Right.
Like, oh my God, like let me take this, very serious situation and talk shit about this person. Let me take this very serious situation and, blow it up into something bigger than it is, or make fun of it. It's easy to do,
Right.
easy to get clicks that way. But the thing is, like when you face with serious situations, like I think it's best to address them very honestly, candidly, and with a neutral point of view, especially because like, that's it's laughter to us, right? But to
Yeah.
somebody else who's going through those tribulations or whatever, it's it's a matter of their life. So
You know?
I think it's just like a lesson to other YouTubers, even to ourselves. Keep ourselves honest as well.
Exactly.
Try to be nice. Try to be nice. Except the dicks like Drake Wuertz.
Drake Wuertz, yes, absolutely, and
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan,
Well,
brother.
even then. Look. I don't respect him. I don't like him. But I don't wish bad upon him.
Oh no.
No, it's not like when.
I think we're very respectful when we deal with difficult situations.
Yeah.
I mean, we make jokes of it because it's a difficult situation. Stuff like that, you have to make jokes on. You have to make a lighter situation. But when the person is not in the wrong, the person is all in the right, and they are the people that are being affected by the situation, you do it accordingly, and that's what we did, and that's why we got what we got.
Yep. Big ups to all that. Big ups to everyone on YouTube who follows that. We tried to do that as well. We will always do that in the future. And speaking of our future, anything else you got in mind, Trevor?
I don't know. We'll see. Got some stuff coming up, I guess, right?
I mean, we got Double or Nothing this week. I'm not doing a live stream for Double or Nothing. I can't.
Yeah, I'm just gonna watch that.
Like I'm just gonna watch. I don't want to like. Here's the thing. I was fine doing that for Fastlane and WrestleMania because I was just like, it is what it is, right? But like Double or Nothing, that's something I want to sit down and enjoy.
Exactly.
And who knows? One day we might do like an in-person watch party for Double or Nothing. I think that could be something that's fun. That could be cool. Yeah. Once we get a little studio, but we'll see what happens with that. In the meantime, for myself, the COO of Real Take Sports ENT,
Excuse me.
and the host of the show, Omar, for the barman Souton.
Thank you, everyone. I think I died again.
And for New Orleans, Trevor. We will see you.
Trevor Two Bells.
Trevor Two Bells. Trevor Mania is running wild. Look at that. That's like, dude. That's like. That was a pretty good Photoshop. Not gonna lie. That was like.
That's almost perfect.
That was not perfect. That was not perfect. Bastion Booger.
No, that was blatantly terrible, but it's great.
Here's Sebastian Booger. Rest in peace, buddy. ZZ. Good luck with whatever you're doing. Trevor, happy birthday, my guy.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, and we will see you all same time, same place next week. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Real Take Sports Talk. Follow us on Twitter at Real Take Sports for updates on the channel. Be sure to follow us on Facebook as well at Real Take Sports Talk. Follow myself and Trevor on our respective social media handles that we very, very easily laid out in our screens. All that jazz. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Bye.